Somebody turn this around. They did. Is he playing with that, Katie?
Yeah, we're having some streaming issues.
Yeah, I think. I'm stunned. It's shocking.
Everybody on that time?
Should we start it without it, or?
Yep. Just give it a second, see if they can. Is it recording, Katie, just not streaming?
Someone said that. Kurt, do you have an extra pen? Or somebody?
I do, Charlie, right?
Oh, never mind. Mark's got it. Thank you so
I
much.
did? I always,
You did this morning.
I do right here too.
That's not one I left you, though. We're just waiting for the tech people to give us the okay. Because we are controlled by the...
Okay. Is it recording though?
Yeah, it's recording.
Okay.
We should just have them here all the time. Get a chair for them. We all set, Katie?
We're good to go.
Okay, we'll start tonight's city council meeting at 7:02 for December 8th. And we'll jump up for a salute to the flag. Councilor Cheney, would you lead us?
Be happy to.
Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Counselor. We do a roll call.
Counselor Cheney,
Here.
Counselor Susie,
Here.
Counselor Hoffman,
Present.
Counselor Haynes,
Here.
Counselor Bogert,
Here.
Counselor Felch,
Here.
Mayor St. Clair.
Here, thank you. For staff in attendance, we have City Manager Kurt Biotti and Finance Director Glenn Smith and our wonderful clerk, Katie Garno. Close, a little
It's getting
closer that time.
Yeah, that's the best I've heard it so far.
It's tough. Something's wrong, but with me. Thank you all. We have a proclamation tonight. That's not it? Oh, it's underneath here, thank you. As I said, Katie. And hopefully, is Pat here, Topri here? No? So I just read it, or?
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I'll just read it. This is a pretty cool thing. This is whereas Lake Winnipesaukee stands as one of New Hampshire's most treasured natural resources, providing beauty, recreation, economic vitality, and environmental significance to communities throughout the Lakes region. And whereas Pat Tarpey, I hope I'm pronouncing her name right, as president of the Lakes Region Winnipesaukee Alliance, has built the technical and informational resource capacity of Lake Winnipesaukee Alliance to engage the Laconia Conservation Commission and Laconia's public on water quality. And whereas this engagement has helped to promote and coordinate activities among city departments, numerous state and county agencies, business and nonprofits. And whereas over 14 years under Pat's leadership, the Lake Winnipesaukee Alliance has led the effort to identify threats to Lake Winnipesaukee water quality and development and implement action plans to mitigate the impacts of invasive species. Cyanobacteria and erosion. And whereas Pat worked to identify water quality sampling locations in tributaries of Poggers Bay and Lake Opeechee, she has also identified deep water sampling locations in both water bodies, along with the field and laboratory diagnostic parameters. And whereas Lake Winnipesaukee Alliance, along with a consultant, identified areas along Langley Brook where erosion was impacting Langley Cove. And whereas Pat's environmental expertise will surely be missed, but she has developed a strong team to carry on her vision for the Lake Winnipesaukee watershed. There Therefore, I, Charlie St. Clair, Mayor of the City of Laconia, on behalf of the City Council and the people of Laconia, recognize and honor Pat Tarpey for her outstanding service and lasting cooperations as President of the Lakes Region Alliance. We greatly appreciate her leadership that has made a positive, enduring impact on Lake Winnipesaukee and the entire Lakes region. That's given on, okay, that's given under my hand and the seal of the City of Laconia, New Hampshire, this 8th day of December in the year of our Lord 2025. She's not here, which is too bad because from everything I've heard about her in the past, she's done a lot of work, and we are all affected by the lake, especially when the quality of it goes down, and that affects our tourism and just makes it kind of lousy for everybody. So a hand for Pat. Thank you. Well, we've got this here for her. We'll get this to her. Okay. I look for a motion without exception to acceptance of the minutes from the previous meetings. So moved by Councilor Felch, seconded by Mark Haynes. All in favor? We're good?
Yep.
Thank you. Okay. Do we have anything on the consent and action calendar?
Yes, you do. 8A.
8A, okay. Yes.
And just as a note for these are all 3-year terms expiring in 2028.
Second here we go. So are you gonna go over those, Kirk, or am I gonna read the names off, or do we
No,
just?
these were, I'll let the appointments committee do that.
Okay, we met early last week, and we brought all the people that you see here on the thing in front of us. Spent time with each one of them, vetting them, making sure they're, they have the right background as citizens and what they plan on doing with each of the boards that they're attending. They're either made a permanent member or an alternate member. So we had given to the council earlier a list of, or I have them today or earlier, all the applications that they came with each person. So you know where they come from, the backgrounds, all that kind of stuff. So the council has all of that. And these here have been, our request is, our recommendation to appoint these people to the various boards on here for the terms that are listed, either an alternate or permanent member.
Does anybody have any comments about it?
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead.
even though they're listed on here, if you just read through what they are for the record, it's part of the agenda, but
Okay, do you want to do that, Bob, since you, go ahead.
I'll make the motion.
No, you want to read
should
through
read off the
names?
names and
I'm
what they
gonna
are.
read off the names,
Go ahead.
okay? To approve the appointment of candidates for the city boards and commissions as presented, and I'll list them off right now. Peter Nagel, the Conservation Commission as a full member. Brad Fitzgerald, reappointment to the Building Code Board of Appeals as a full member. Tim Whitney, appointed to the Zoning Board of Adjustment as an alternate member. Daniel Huberman, appointed to the Conservation Commission as a full member. Jacob Roy, appointment to the Planning Board as an alternate member. Tara Sorrell, appointment to the Zoning Board of Adjustment as an alternate member. Roger Cameron, appointment to the Conservation Commission as an alternate member. Jane Whitehead, appointed to the Historic Commission as a full member. Marjorie Wilkinson, appointed to the Historic District Commission as a full member. And Rebecca Gregoire, reappointment to Lakeport TIF Advisory Board as a full member. I'd like to make that motion.
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilor Felch. Any discussion? All in favor? That's 6 in the affirmative, thank you. Okay, now we're on agenda number 9. This is for citizen comments for matters not on the agenda. I repeat, not on the agenda tonight. Is there anybody who would like to have a moment to discuss? Come on up. Just let us know your name and address, please.
Hi, my name is Sue Higgins, and I live in Ward 2 in Laconia, Highland Street.
That's good.
I would like to address the issue of transparency with this board. At the last city council meeting, it was mentioned several times by you
That's correct.
and laughed at by you, that transparency was an issue, not really an issue in this city. And as I'm new to coming to these meetings and trying to figure out what's going on in these meetings, I can tell you that I've been having incredible problems trying to figure out when committees are meeting. The minutes are supposed to be posted by law within 5 days after a committee meets, and it almost never happens. And then when they are posted on the website, there's no date next to those minutes, so that you can't even go back and see how long it's been that they have been posted, whether they were posted in the right time frame, or if you want to go back for the last year and say, when were these minutes done? Was a meeting for the master plan in October, and there's still no minutes, and it's December. So as a member of this community that wants to make sure that what the city council is doing and that it's transparent, I resent that you talk about it and like it's a joke, and that we deserve to be able to hold our councilmen accountable.
Well, that's well put, and I would say that when I mention transparency a lot, I'm being dead serious about it. But why, I don't think we should leave this unanswered about these minutes. Are they not available?
No, I mean, it's something I don't go back, I haven't been back and checked to see if they all go online, but I mean, Sue and I have actually spoken ahead of this meeting. You know, it's a point, if they're looking for them, they're not always up on time, we'll make it a point of order to be making sure that we're doing it. It's not that I haven't for any reason, other than just don't generally look on it to see, but, you know, absolutely a good point made.
Okay. Well, I'll continue to mention transparency because I want to make sure that we are being very transparent. So I will mention that probably several times tonight, too, after we talk about things. Thank you, though. Anybody else? Okay, thank you. No interviews tonight, I take it? No.
Okay. Just, Mr. Mayor, if I'll just mention that we're recording. We are having a little bit of trouble with streaming. They're working on that now, but it is recording, and so.
Okay. Okay, so we'll go to 13. This is public hearings. We're going to do 13A. This is ordinance 2025-235-22, amending Chapter 235, Article 4A, impact fees, and Attachment 6 impact fee schedule. Do we want to, this is a public hearing. We'll open that up at 7:13.
Can you just read where they were posted and stuff?
I'm sorry, oh, where is it posted?
Under discussion, just for each one, just for the record.
Ah. Yeah, correct, hold on here.
They're all the same, but.
Yeah, this was, notice of this public hearing was made available in the November 13th, 2025 edition of Laconia Daily Sun and posted at Laconia City Hall, Laconia Community Center, Laconia Public Library, and the offices of the SAU. And I would imagine this would be on our website too, the city website, Kirk?
It is on there when this gets added as the agenda, but it's posted out front. When City Hall is posted out front.
Okay. Okay, so do you want to, we'll discuss that now? Is there anybody here that would like to discuss this impact fee?
Yeah.
Come on up.
No.
See somebody maybe?
Yep.
Beautiful, come on up.
Hi, Diana Sack, Gale Avenue. Since the legislature chose to cut 80% of the affordable housing budget, we need to be doing everything we can at the local level, given that we don't have that tool anymore, to encourage affordable housing, and maybe you could examine the impact fees for some way to encourage developers to develop more affordable housing. That's all.
Okay. Go ahead, Steve. You were going to say something, or?
I forgot this public hearing.
Okay, yeah, okay, I thought so, all right. All right, thank you very much. Anybody else? I can bring that up later, Steve. Okay, so go ahead, Kurt.
When you close this one,
Yeah,
I'm just gonna have you pause for a second so we could reset the the streaming and the recording, so I don't want to miss anything.
Okay.
So it'll just be a quick, you don't need a recess, just a,
All right, we'll close this
Quick pause.
public hearing on this at 7:15. Okay, go ahead. We're good to go?
I believe so. Hang on one second. Try to refresh it. Does it show as streaming?
Says excellent, and it shows
Yep.
some movement on the screen.
Okay, you got it on yours?
Hijacked by the tech world.
There we go. All right, we're good.
We're good?
Good. Thanks, Nick.
Okay, we'll move on down now to 13B. This is a public hearing. This is ordinance 2025-5-25-32, 5-33, amending Chapter 5 Administration of Government, Article 3, Boards and Commissions, Human Relations Committee, establishing the Human Relations Committee as a city committee. And this was also, notice of this public hearing was made available in the November 13th, 2025 edition of Laconia Daily Sun and posted at Laconia City Hall, Laconia Community College, Laconia Public Library, and the offices of the SAU. We'll open this public hearing at 7:18. Is there anybody here who would like to discuss this?
Mr. Mayor, City Councilors, Patrick Wood, Ward 1. I am the chairperson of the Laconia Human Relations Committee, and I do have some comments that I would like to make. I think, first of all, there has been some misinformation in the newspapers about this process, and I think it's fair that we sort of clear up some of those misunderstandings. The Human Relations Committee did not make this presentation or request this. This came up, as you all know, from the City Council itself. Councilor Bogert raised some questions. Councilor Susi asked Councilor Bogert, if the committee were appointed by the City Council, would that address some of the concerns that he had? He said, yes, it probably would. Now, not all of them, he didn't say everything, but at that point in time, the city manager was asked to put something together, which he did for the next city council meeting. There was a proposed ordinance that was presented to the city council. This was not something done behind closed doors. It was not something done in any sneaky or manipulative manner. This was done in the ordinary course of the business of the city council. You received a copy of the proposed ordinance, and as the standard procedure that you followed, it was sent to the Government Operations Committee for review. In addition, you scheduled a public hearing for tonight. What's a little unusual is that it was clear that in setting up the public hearing, there would not be any discussion or decisions made, I should say, concerning the ordinance at tonight's meeting. And as you know, often when you have a public hearing, you do later on in the meeting make a decision on the matter that's in the public hearing. What you voted upon at that meeting when you sent it to the public hearing is that after the public hearing, it would come back to the Government Operations Committee for further discussion and review. And then it would come back to the City Council for a vote. So that being the case, the scenario would be, if there's a public hearing tonight, which we're in the midst of right now, it would go back to Government Operations, probably sometime next week, maybe the end of this week, and then it would come back before the City Council on the 22nd of December. So the earliest the City Council would ever be able to vote on this proposed ordinance would be the 22nd of December. If it is passed at that point in time, the city then has a committee known as the Human Relations Committee. And as we just heard moments ago, there's an appointments committee of the City Council. 9 of the members of this proposed committee have to be appointed by the City Council. So people would have to submit their application. They would be reviewed by the appropriate committee, the appointments committee of the City Council, and they would then make a recommendation to the City Council for appointment of those members. The first meeting after the 22nd of the City Council will be in January of 2026, and that will be the inauguration meeting. And as you know, the level of business being conducted at that meeting is generally fairly light. So the next regular full business meeting of the City Council will be the second meeting in January. So the earliest anyone could be appointed to this committee would be the latter part of January 2026. There's nothing hidden in this process. It is all very transparent. It's a standard operating procedure. And for people to say without any basis that this is somewhere sneaky or manipulative or being pushed by one group or another, it's just not true. And I think it's an insult to all of you on the City Council who have been doing your best to make sure that the process is followed properly. So that's my initial comment. And as far as a whiff of illegitimacy of this committee, it's been in place for 25 years. Different police chiefs have been involved in it. Different mayors have been involved in it. The City Council has been involved in it. I think if there's a whiff of anything, it may be a whiff of some burned bridges. Approximately 50-some years ago, I took an oath to become an attorney for the state of New Hampshire. And part of that oath is that I swore to support the Constitution of the United States and of New Hampshire. Now, that oath means a lot to me. And I spent almost 50 years practicing law, working very hard to make sure that my clients had their rights protected under the Constitution and the laws of the state of New Hampshire. The allegation that this committee is doing something untoward, shadowy, behind closed doors, without public information or public input, is frankly not true. All of our meetings are posted. They're held publicly. We even had a meeting a few weeks ago in which people suggested we change the time frame of our meeting to be later in the day. So now we meet at 4:30 rather than 3:30. So we're doing everything we can to make sure that people have an opportunity to participate and to know what's happening. The the Human Relations Committee is not a human rights committee. We have a Human Rights Commission in the state of New Hampshire, and their duties and jobs are to often adjudicate claims of violation of human rights. The Human Relations Committee has a primary purpose of educating, teaching, bringing to the fore issues of concern of our relations with one another. It began 25 years ago when we had a number of immigrants coming to our community. And the police chief was having some difficulty getting those people to understand how life is in the United States of America and in Laconia in particular. And so he asked for help. And the mayor at that time, Mayor Leahy, appointed the Human Relations Committee to help with these immigrants. And from that process came the Multicultural Day, which has developed into the Multicultural Folk and Festival that has been a statewide banner of acceptance and enjoyment. But we've also done many other things over the years. We've had movies, international movies. We've had programs that allow an imam from Dover to come and speak to people, to explain a little bit about what Islam is and what it isn't. We have the Martin Luther King Jr. Commemoration every year. We've been working with the temple for the last few years on Holocaust remembrance programs, Yom HaShoah. We've also dealt with the Kristallnacht remembrance. We have done many different things. And when we had the anti-Semitic and hate-filled words painted on buildings, we had a vigil and a program at the high school. Most recently, we've had a program, an open discussion on the issue of homelessness. Our values are the values that are in our Constitution. Equal protection under the law for everybody, regardless of where they're from, what they believe, what they look like. That's what the Human Relations Committee is about. It's helping all of us recognize the value in each other. A society is known for its greatest strength by the way it treats the least of us. That's what makes a society strong. By the same token, democracy is strengthened when we listen to the smallest voice and the least powerful. That's what the Human Relations Committee is all about. Letting people be heard. Letting them know that their interests, their lives are important to us, and to help bridge the gap of misunderstanding and lack of communication. So, in my perspective, having this committee being a full committee of the City of Laconia is a step forward and a positive move for the entire community, because it is the entire community that the Human Relations Committee is concerned about. Somebody raised the question of equity, and in a recent op-ed, they sort of poked fun at the idea of having a discussion of human relations and anti-racism, anti-Semitism. in the law, if you break the law, you damage somebody else's property, you have the right to sue them for damages. But if somebody takes your car, suing them for the loss of the vehicle doesn't get you a ride to where you need to go. You want to have the car back. The law doesn't allow that per se. So what we have to look at is equity. Equity is something that is fair and just. And what equity does under those circumstances is it allows you to get your car back. But if the government takes away your vote or restricts your right to vote, what's your right? You don't have damages. You have to have a means of protecting that. That's what equity is about when it comes to human relations, making sure that every voice, every vote, every person has a right to express their opinions and to be heard. So I am very much in support of continuing this process, and I hope that we end up with a Human Relations Committee that is a permanent body of the city of Laconia. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. Kirk, if I could just, clarification here. The inauguration is on the 5th, correct?
It's gonna be the 5th, yeah. We're working out all the final
Okay,
details
and
now,
then
but the
and there'll be a-
12th will be the 12th?
That's correct.
Will
So
be the first regular meeting, so there'll be 2 meetings in
there will be,
January.
so I don't know, Pat, if you heard that, but there will be 2 city council meetings, the 12th and the, I think it's the 28th or something,
Yeah, I'd have to look.
22nd? Yeah, so there will be 2 council meetings after the inauguration, which is on, yeah,
Yes.
yes,
Inauguration's on the 5th.
that's
Right,
correct.
that's
right.
not a council meeting.
It's not a
We're still
council meeting.
finalizing all the details, that's why it hasn't been
so-
put out yet, other than to the council.
Then
and
the
the
next
new
meeting
council.
for this council is 2 weeks from tonight.
Right, and then there will
And
be
then the
2 in January as
inauguration
well.
meeting.
That's correct, and then
And then the
there's,
12th will be on the new council.
that's correct. All right, thank you. We have a new speaker.
How you doing? My name's Greg Huff, Ward 2, Highland Street in Laconia. Is there a time limit on this?
Go ahead, we've been pretty lax with that tonight.
Thank you. I'm just going to make a few points here and then wrap it up pretty quick when it comes to the Human Relations Committee. The first is city government exists to perform functions delegated by statute or charter, chiefly budgeting, planning, infrastructure, code enforcement, public safety, service delivery, and statutory compliance. Second point, a Human Relations Committee does not directly execute statutory functions, enforce ordinances, manage city property, or deliver municipal services. My third point, activities associated with human relations, awareness campaigns, education, dialogue, or advocacy can legally and effectively be carried out by community nonprofits, private associations, churches, service agencies, or ad hoc citizens groups without requiring government structure or taxpayer funding. Number 4, any municipal committee must justify its existence by producing outcomes unachievable by outside actors or other city bodies. If its function overlaps the nonprofits, schools, police outreach units, or civic organizations, the committee duplicates capacity rather than filling a gap. Number 5, duplicative committees generate inefficiency requiring staff support, meeting times, administrative oversight, and risk compliance burdens, i.e. RSA 91As. Minutes, agendas, appointment rules, even ADA accessibility, without directly advancing municipal duties. Number 6, the city includes public attention, city resources include public attention, and committee structures are finite. Allocating government bandwidth to functions achievable privately diverts focus from statutory responsibilities like infrastructure, taxation, land use, emergency response, and fiscal management. The conclusion of this is if the Human Relations Committee performs functions that do not execute municipal duties, duplicate activities available through private actors, and consume finite government capacity, then retaining the Human Relations Committee is irrational from a governance standpoint. Therefore, the city should not maintain the Human Relations Committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Anybody else?
Hello, everybody. My name's Richard Littlefield, and I live on Blueberry Lane here in Laconia. Recently, it's been said that the Laconia Human Relations Committee has no value and should cease to exist after 25 years. I'm not going to malign the people who disagree with my opinion. Instead, I'm going to just tell you what I see in the Human Relations Committee and my colleagues. The first thing I see is an overwhelming desire to be a part of positive change in the city of Laconia. I see a baker's dozen of different personalities, different beliefs, different philosophies, different ages, and different ethnicities. No matter what the differences have been in my almost 3 years on the committee, every interaction has been cordial, personable, and what I would call good business. It's very hard to find 13-member committees, or any committees for that matter, that are dedicated to educating the community, solving problems, and bringing a dose of humanity to the table. With that being said, I am asking councilors to make the Human Relations Committee a councilors' committee and preserve the LHRC. This long-standing group of dedicated public servants is and will continue to put on MLK Jr. events, see that there are multicultural events in the city of Laconia, and put forward the time and energy to advocate for those in need and those who want it. I see nothing but value in the Laconia Human Relations Committee, and here's to another 25 years. Thank you for your attention to the matter.
Thank you, Richard. Well, I was going to announce that you were here in Mayor's comments, but
I'm
but
here.
Michael Boards.
Mike Boards, Laconia, 20 Kristen Drive. I want to set the record straight on one thing. There's been false allegations going around that I just want to disband and get rid of the Human Relations Committee completely. That started from a rogue member of the Human Relations Committee spreading misinformation and lies. What I do want to see with the Human Relations Committee is accountability, transparency. I want to see them posting their meeting minutes on time, which they have never done. There's no broadcast of their meetings anywhere to be found. We need them recorded. And I think this really needs to wait until the new mayor and city council are in place. Rushing this through is a big mistake. We need to give this committee a chance to be reformatted and accountability put in place. If we force them to be a full-time councilors committee, we're basically handing over the keys to a stolen vehicle. I'm using that analogy because if your child goes and steals a vehicle, are you gonna go buy them a new one 2 weeks later? No, you wanna punish that person. You want accountability. They did not follow the rules. They're making subcommittees under whose authority? Who authorized these subcommittees? Homelessness Subcommittee. Previous Mayor Hosmer already had a homeless committee that eventually got disbanded or fell under. They went and made one on their own with no authority. Who authorized that? Anybody have the answer here? I know certain city councilors didn't even know this existed. We need accountability. Their meeting minutes were not posted in a timely manner. Are we gonna hand over the keys to the stolen vehicle and allow them to have a full-time committee? Or are we gonna hold them accountable and reformat this committee and make them accountable and transparent and give us the opportunity to maybe eventually down the road make them a full-time committee, but they need to prove themselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Next.
Good evening, everybody. Paul Lang, Belmont. Contrary to popular belief, the Human Relations Committee does a lot of good things. They put on a forum that was fantastic. They had the majority of the stakeholders involved that were there. There were many that weren't, though. I have to step back a little bit to talk about the word of the night, transparency. When I tried to research everything that was going on with the homeless population in Laconia and the surrounding towns, the mayor's task force on housing or homelessness didn't post their last 5 meeting minutes. Nobody knows. When I asked a counselor on this city council where I would go to find it, I was told to, quote unquote, find it yourself, asshole.
Well, if we could.
That's the only one I've got in that one.
Well, I'm really happy to hear that, but if anything else comes to mind with you or anybody else, perhaps you could just say explicit,
Well,
just some cold
he's
word.
comfortable with the word, so I am. So, anyway, the other thing I found is I couldn't find any of the last meetings or minutes on the old North Main Street property. I looked, I couldn't find them anywhere. So there is a gap. So as far as the Human Relations Committee, I started attending meetings because what really started was they added the homeless subcommittee. There was a lot of misinformation, miscommunication, a lot of false assertions, and quite honestly, it was a failure. All I saw was we're handing out water and we're trying to push God pods. So I started looking into that even more, and they were not holding their meetings on site. Their minutes were lacking. I came to the Human Relations Committee meeting, and in speaking with Pat Wood, Dave Osmond, Matt Sousa, I commended them for their MLK Day celebrations or remembrance. I commended them for their Multicultural Day, although I am concerned that they don't have a deep enough bench that they can't put somebody up to pull that task off. However, I was very critical of the Homeless Committee, subcommittee, because they were pushing the false narrative out into the community that made them scared. It made them worried that this was going to show up in their backyard. We all know it's never going to happen. But the phone calls, the emails, the letters, and it escalated from there, and it did not need to happen. As far as tonight goes, I reviewed the policies and procedures, and whether it exists or it doesn't exist, as a committee or a task force, the problem that Pat Wood outlined was that, yes, I was the one that complained that people could not attend those meetings because they were in the middle of the day. I've heard people, we want you to become part of the community. We want you to take part in these meetings. People can't come during the middle of the day. They were also not being put out so that you can view them live or recorded. So nobody knew what was going on, and the secretary was having a hard time with the minutes. When they identify 4 locations in the city to put God pods on city property, and that gets published in a set of meeting minutes, where are they? Nobody knows. When I asked the question, nobody knew. And then I'm told a pro bono lawyer told him not to. I have no idea what that means. So we bring up the word transparency. You can see there's a lack of transparency, or there was. And I will commend Pat Wood for bringing that back. So when I started looking at your new policies and procedures, I didn't see anything in there about meeting times, like they had in the prior policies and procedures. There was nothing. I also didn't understand how you're laying out the members, because to me that doesn't make sense. You're looking for a large turnover. I looked at some of the other committees, such as the Conservation Committee, where they phased in the members. So some got 1-year terms, some got 2-year terms, some got 3-year terms. That eliminates a massive void if you're going to turn over a whole committee in 3 years.
That'll all come out in the wash, but if this goes through, you know, this is not the first committee that the council has worked with, so I'm sure they've got all that planned out.
Right, well, but it wasn't in the policies and procedures that are out there now. That's my point.
Okay.
It's in the previous ones. But thank you for your time, I appreciate it, and thank you for all you've done.
Thank you. And who's next? Try not to repeat what other people have said, if possible.
Mr. Mayor, Councilman, my name is Archie Keltz. This evening, I'm in Ward 3. This
Thank you.
evening, I'm here as a fellow Laconian. We elect a mayor and a council, and they do appoint committees. Sometimes the mission of that committee is not fulfilled. The Mayoral Human Relations Committee is comprised of people who are well-intentioned, but whose work product seems largely ineffectual. Tonight, they are asking us for a promotion. The HRC has recently taken on homelessness as part of their mission. I am fine with this in principle. It seems like a logical step from welcoming refugees to welcoming the homeless. But there are times when it seems the members of the committee harbor more concern for the stranger than for their own neighbors. When a Laconian business owner has a window broken into by a homeless person, or another shop owner had a vagrant sleeping in his storefront, the Human Relations Committee, with their ideology of equity, which is not in the Constitution, would dismiss their righteous anger and personal discomfort over these intrusions as unkind and seek restorative justice on behalf of the trespasser, even when $10,000 of damage has been done and their money is stolen. Do you know how long it takes a working man to save $10,000? When no effective policy is acted upon to protect the local business owner, we can't but conclude the current system is favoring the perpetrators rather than the victims, which is what equity gets you. Most of us believe criminal behavior should be punished. Broken windows, vagrancy, and indecent exposure do nothing but degrade the living standards of our community. I signed this petition to defer action, and this is why. People want to avoid unpleasant situations, and complicating the matter with the homelessness as a matter of dignity and respect does nothing but degrade the value of people who live here and support the city with their taxes. It also impacts not just Laconians, but visitors who come to events supported by our city. Perhaps the Human Relations Committee would do better to contact Governor Ayotte and make sure that our police and community are protected from judges who refuse to follow the law when sentencing these criminals. If that does not work, we can take cognizance of the policy that was instituted overnight in Martha's Vineyard back in 2022. It does not appear that the current Human Relations Committee has the impetus to protect Laconians and our interest in 2025, or our quality of life. Therefore, this appears to require a few new sets of eyes looking at our situation. We cannot allow what is happening currently to become a permanent composition, even for 3 years. We need fresh perspectives appointed by the new city council and mayor. The attempt by the Human Relations Committee to make itself a permanent standing committee on the eve of a transfer of power can only be interpreted as a partisan maneuver. I know it's not clear if the vote will take place before that transfer of power or not, but I would like to know. If you care about human relations, you should want the support of all of us Laconians. This will pose a definite concern to at least half of us Laconians. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Mr. Robertson?
How you doing, Charlie?
Nice to see you. I won't ask you to take your hat off because I know you won't, so thank you.
You're welcome. So, I just want to begin by recognizing the Human Relations Committee and the meaningful work it's done organizing the annual Martin Luther King ceremony. It brings music, speakers, food, education to our community. Honoring Dr. Martin Luther King's legacy is the dignity of inclusion. The committee has also supported multicultural festivals, a downtown tradition that celebrates Laconia's diversity through food, music, arts. These efforts are the committee's mission to educate against prejudice and promote unity, and that they deserve our full support. And I truly do believe that, right? I think that's a great thing, right? We can do some great things in this city. But lately, the committee has struggled to reach all of its citizens. These once impactful efforts are suffering. The committee's attempt to hire an outside manager for the multicultural festival collapsed. The event was canceled, costing the city valuable time, resources, credibility, and hurting the event's public reputation. Instead of refocusing on its core goals, the committee has drifted to political activism, opposing federal enforcement like ICE and attacking our sheriff's department for carrying out its duty to protect the public. You know, why are we even asking the sheriff, you know, why did you sign that petition, right? He did it for the right reasons, because his job is to protect us. Why would the committee try to stop that? I found that to be kind of crappy. The committee subcommittee has also taken on issues such as homeless policy, introducing God Pod Village that lies far outside the mission, often with missing or incomplete minutes. These distractions have created growing diversity, diverting attention and resources from the core purpose. Sorry, I'm trying to stay to my thing because it's easier. Not really. Instead, the committee has chosen to focus on polarizing political agendas, putting neighbors against neighbors, and prioritizing short-term activism over long-term unity. Someone else just said 50% of us. 50%. That's half of your city. And how many of you are going to actually listen to that? Bruce, you're going to listen? I don't know. Maybe. Eric? I'm not positive. Mark? Maybe. I don't know. That's 50% of you guys up there. Popped it right out, right? You guys represent half. What about the rest of us? While homelessness is a serious local concern, illegal immigration is pressing national issues. These are not responsibilities of the Human Rights Commission. Local law enforcement officers have to take an oath to protect the citizens, and the HRC should be supporting that mission, not undermining it. Leadership means transparency, accountability, and measurable outcomes, not missed minutes, missed mid-afternoon meetings. By the way, 4:30? I didn't get out of work till 5:30 tonight. Almost missed this meeting. The HRC must return to its founding purpose, protecting dignity, preventing prejudice, and promoting inclusion. Homelessness policies belong under elected oversight, where accountability and public input guide the decisions, not within a committee working beyond its charge. It's time to refocus the HRC on its essential work, uniting our community, not dividing it. At this time, I urge that no structural changes be made to the committee until a new city mayor might have a chance to be sworn in. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Hi, my name is Taylor Huff. I'm from Laconia, Highland Street, Ward 2. I just wanted to bring a petition that I had the help of getting some other people in the city, taxpayers, to sign that asks that we respectfully urge you guys to defer any action to make the Human Relations Committee permanent until the newly elected mayor and city council have been sworn in. I have it here for you to consider. Over 100 people signed this petition, so we're hoping that this can show that there is an overwhelming amount of people in Laconia that want this to be halted, at least until the newly elected mayor and city council members are sworn in. So I don't know who I can give this to, but.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Carol Pierce. I live in Laconia in the Taylor community. I have been with the committee for a long time, and one of the things that has been great to help us do our work is to be a mayor's committee. Under mayor's committee, you are not under the laws or the regulations of a regular committee of the council. And in that way, how you work and where you find your goals, your focus and what you do is that you try things. And you have things that you try and they don't work or they're not quite right. You look at what the city allows people to do in any committee. We have tried at times to keep our minutes up to date. They're quite up to date, but we have not been under the strictness of a regular committee. We had a wider place that we could work. We could try things, and I think we've tried a lot of things. And I'm really proud of all the things we've been successful about and that have happened here in Laconia. I find that people hear about us, and as I said in a letter, I wrote in a letter to the editor, that they say, I can't believe that a city has taken the energy and the foresight to say you could have a human relations committee. It's not typical of committees. It doesn't go by all the rules in many ways, but it's there as something we've tried, and for 25 years, I think we've done a very good job. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. One point
Could we get your name and
Doug
address,
Lambert
please?
and Guilford, please.
Thank you.
One point on the previous speaker, I would suggest that the committee is subject to all the rules governing political committees. So I was asked to read a document, an article that was written by Patrick Hines, who can't be here tonight. So I'd like to read it into the record, and then I'll present a copy. So this appeared in the Sunday Union Leader this past Sunday. So he writes, ask ChatGPT to name the New Hampshire municipalities with a Human Relations Committee, and it turns up only one, my beloved hometown of Laconia. That begs the question, what the heck is a Human Relations Committee anyway? If your employer has ever forced you to sit through one of those dreary, unconscious bias training sessions at which the conclusion was drawn that you are congenitally and incurably racist before the seminar even began, you've got a pretty good sense of what Laconia's Human Relations Committee, the HRC, is all about. Its mission includes supporting, quote, the changing face of our community by, quote, educating ourselves and our children about the presence and dehumanizing impact of prejudicial attitudes, end quote, and pursuing, quote, the prevention of prejudice, intolerance, harassment, and discrimination in our community, end quote. There's also plenty of talk about equity, which we've also heard earlier tonight. You get the idea. The residents of Laconia are so incorrigibly bigoted that only a committee of advanced, enlightened super citizens can hold it together. Yet, as interested in tolerance as the HRC claims to be, it's willing to draw the line somewhere. It's hard to find more than one registered Republican on the 14-member committee. For context, the Republican candidate for governor received around 60% of the vote here last year. That makes you wonder, does the HRC really, quote, support the changing face, end quote, of Laconia? Or is it just trying to mold Laconia in its own image? The HRC is a mayor's committee, meaning it isn't a permanent fixture of local government and serves at the mayor's discretion. And this poses a problem for the politicians who currently run the city. The immediate past occupant of the mayor's office, a Democrat, resigned. He was replaced by an interim mayor, a Democrat, who still serves in that role. Then Mr. Mike Boards, the Republican state representative, upset the carefully constructed succession plan by unexpectedly winning the election for mayor last month. Suddenly, the in-house partisan face changes, prejudice preventers, and dehumanizing impact educators on the HRC thought their days might be numbered. This kicked off a panicky effort to make the HRC permanent and remove it from the mayor's discretion during this lame duck period before Boards takes office.
Boards is an unlikely villain. He's a moderate Republican who has never endorsed the idea of dissolving the HRC, but he has called for greater transparency from this opaque committee. That threat of transparency appears to have ignited the backroom caper to cement the HRC within city government and alter its structure. The Laconia City Council recently charged its Government Operations Committee with making a recommendation to the HRC's future. To no one's surprise, it recommended the HRC become permanent, pointing to the fact that no one even showed up to the hearing to speak against the measure. This ignores the inconvenient fact that the hearing was held at 3:30 p.m. on a weekday when most people in town were working or picking up their kids from school. Incidentally, two of the Government Operation Committee's 3 members, Councilors Bruce Cheney and Anthony Felch, lost in November and will no longer serve on the council. I, Patrick, contacted Cheney and Felch for this column, but neither responded to my request for comment. Give them this. It's a sophisticated political caper the city fathers have cooked up in a stunning use of raw, if fleeting, power. But at what cost? The irony is that if the lame duck council gets its way, it will undermine any claims of legitimacy the HRC might have in the future. Its works, whether good or controversial, will carry the stench of partisan intrigue. They will have sown distrust in the very public they seek to educate. The Laconia City Council would be wise to defer action on making the Human Relations Committee permanent and removing it from the mayor's discretion until the new mayor and city council take office in January. So that's the end of Patrick's.
What's his name again? I'm sorry.
Patrick Hines.
Hines?
Hines, yes.
H-I,
Hynes. He's a City of Laconia resident.
right, I got that.
Okay.
And it's
So-
always nice to have a historian go over the recent history. I like that.
Yes, yes. It was very well written. I wish
Very
I
well
could
written.
claim that I had written it, but
Yeah.
I didn't. Now we get into some of my thoughts and observations. This article was the #1 read piece on the Union Leader yesterday and today. So what that means is many eyes are on the city of Laconia. And people are interested in this, obviously. Most likely, where the Union Leader really isn't the city's paper of record, that means that there's a lot of interest beyond just the citizens of Laconia. And, you know, people are wary of the shenanigans that we find at all levels of government these days. The underhanding goings on in the notion that elections don't matter is causing people nationwide to lose faith in our institutions. Now, Pat Wood earlier mentioned that democracy is strengthened through the works of that committee. And my answer to that is, really? This almost smacks of democracy as being weakened, okay? There was an election held in this city, okay? And Mike Boards won the election. Now, we all know that the mayor's powers, not that much. You probably.
Doug, if I could just interrupt, and I apologize, but try to not go over the stuff we've already heard tonight, because it's getting late. And I appreciate the fact that you're standing there, don't get me wrong. But we know who won the election, we know who's here now, we know who's coming. If you can just try to cut right to the chase.
Okay.
Please.
So, in order to strengthen democracy, we really shouldn't be destroying it, okay? It's like destroying the village to save the village. I don't see, and a lot of other people don't understand why this has to happen at this particular point.
Let the democracy, the vote of the people stand. Let the new mayor take his position. I believe he said earlier that he had no intention of eliminating the committee. So to turn around and take a 25-year tradition, legacy, and somehow change it at this juncture is just not something that is doing the work of the people. And my question, my final thought is, why don't you, this current council, take a stand, do what's right, don't make the change, do the right thing, and I think that some of you that are leaving can go out as heroes, as having been able to say to the public with a straight face that I heard the people, we respect the democratic process, and we're going to allow the people that were duly elected to make the decisions that the voters have tasked them to do. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, Doug.
And here's the,
Okay. Somebody else. We'd love to get out of here before midnight. Come on up, John.
John Hildreth, Ward 1. The makeup of the council, number one, the previous speaker spoke of an opinion piece from the Manchester Union leader, a very biased, anyway. The makeup of the council is not going to change. We have an independent that is being replaced by a Republican. We have a Republican that's being replaced by a former independent Democrat. So this is not something that is going to be some massive change. Number two, making this a permanent committee overseen by the city council will address a lot of the issues that a lot of people have brought up today. It will be a formal committee that will be overseen by the city council. Thank you.
Thank you. Hold on, Pat. Is there anybody else that has not spoken would like to speak? All right, Pat. Pat, we'll give you that shot.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Councilor. I just need to clarify a couple of points that were raised. The Human Relations Committee does not run the Multicultural Festival. That's a separate entity that runs the Multicultural Festival. We are not responsible for that event. We support it. Most of our members work at the Multicultural Festival, but we do not run the committee. We're not that event. We're not responsible for it. Secondly, the Human Relations Committee has taken no stand whatsoever on the sheriff's agreement with the Homeland Securities. The chairperson of the committee, as a retired lawyer, independent of the committee, without any involvement of the committee, has taken a position on that, and I have made that known here to the city council as well. The God Pods have never been proposed, sponsored, pushed forward by the Human Relations Committee. What we have done is we have allowed the people who proposed the idea of the God Pods to make a presentation to the Human Relations Committee. We have not taken a stand or a position on that issue. These are independent individuals. Our homelessness subcommittee, if you will, was there to meet with them, to get more information, to bring that information back to the full committee. But we, as a Human Relations Committee, have not taken any stand on the issue of the God Pods. As far as the 4:30 meeting time, because we are a mayor's committee, we are not given keys to the city hall. So we'd have to meet at times when there are people here in City Hall who can lock up the doors, make sure the building is secure. That's not our responsibility. If we become a permanent committee of the city, that will change, because now there will be somebody from the city to take the minutes, to keep the records, to be here, to make sure the doors are locked when we end our meeting. We've agreed to the 4:30 on Mondays, the third Monday of the month, because right after that is the zoning board. So we start at 4:30, we're done at 6. The zoning board starts at 6:30. There's a continuity of operation. We don't need to worry about being responsible for locking the doors. So there are practical reasons for doing that, but if it's a full city committee, that issue gets resolved. So I think those are the major concerns that have been raised. One final comment. The author of that op-ed and of an earlier letter to the Sun, Patrick Hines, happens to be my son-in-law. And I have heard nothing from him, nor my daughter, on this issue. So when we talk about the importance of communication, I guess that's something that perhaps my family needs to learn a little bit more about. And I'm more than happy to do that. But I will tell you that the language in his letters and his op-eds are really, really painful, because that's not who I am. That's not how I lead a committee. That's not how I deal with people. So I think it's important that we do this and do it right. So thank you.
Thank you, Pat. I got so many questions, but we're going to wait until it's discussed by the council, not right now.
Yeah, I don't know if you, once you close the public hearing, I don't know if you
Anybody
want.
else?
Mayor.
Oh, come on up.
Good evening, all. Nice to see you. Having sat in a few meetings with the Human Relations Committee, I can say without equivocation that those who presently serve on it represent the best of what the city has to offer. I have listened carefully tonight to the remarks prior to me approaching. I will say it is my hope and expectation that the future iteration of this Human Relations Committee should fall under the new administration in January for the reasons stated earlier. And I'm confident you'll make the right decision. Thank you.
Excuse me?
Thank you. I'm sorry.
Do you want to move the discussion up to now? Charlie?
We can, but let's,
The last speaker's name and,
oh, that's Peter Spanos.
well, I knew that, but,
Yeah, Peter Spanos, who lives in Ward 1
okay.
and
Just
has
for the
many
record.
other titles, I might add.
I
There's
knew it
several.
was, but.
If you could just tell us again who you are, please.
So I'm Sue Higgins, Highland Street, Ward 2. And I have been tasked with transparency.
Thank you so much.
I bet you like that, right?
I do, I love it.
So there's a couple of things, because you asked me not to go over what has already been gone over, so I
Thank
just
you.
I just want to go over a couple of things with you that first of all, I printed the 91A. Anybody who wants to read it, I'll be glad to share it with you. And there's nothing in this 91A that says a mayor's committee does not fall under the same committee guidelines as any other committee. And they should be posting minutes and doing things in a transparent manner. It has nothing to do with whether a mayor's committee or not.
It's certainly been covered already, thank you.
And then what I will say is, I said to you earlier today that I'm trying to get up to speed as to how this city operates. And one of the things that I did was on Wednesday, November 12th, I sent an email to Patrick Wood, and it was a very simple 2-sentence email, which I asked him that his meeting, I said, you mentioned that you have a meeting on Monday. What time is the meeting and where will it be held? And is this information posted someplace so that I can find it for myself in the future? And his response to me was, the meeting will be at the City Council chambers on Monday, the 17th at 4:30. So you can see, it was a very short email to him, and I asked him how I could find this information for myself in the future, and he did not respond to that at all. And so for somebody that is trying to be transparent, whether it was inadvertent or not, when you're trying to figure out how things are being operated, it should be covered, especially, it shouldn't get lost in an email that's 2 sentences long. Mr. Littlefield, when he was working on behalf of the homeless subcommittee, was asked, again, somebody had said, where are these locations going to be? And he first said he couldn't remember where they were going to be, and then he said that under advice for counsel, he couldn't share that information. That's certainly not something that is transparent. Again, 3:30 meetings is not good. Posting meetings properly is not okay. I read at the last meeting that they had a one-page outline of how the homeless forum went, and on that one-page outline, which I consider to be the formal document of how they perceived the homeless forum to go, they said that the homeless could not be arrested out, that they didn't want them to be arrested out, that they needed public help to get out of their situation. And that was not what came out of the forum. It was very clear that the citizens of Laconia want the homeless people to be accountable in the same way that citizens are. If we are defecating in the middle of downtown,
If I can just stop here.
Yep.
'Cause you're going over the form, and
Yeah.
this is,
no, I'm going over the legal record that they had of the forum where they said
okay,
things
but we
that
don't
were
need to hear
not.
all the particulars of that form, if you
And
don't,
that's
if
not
you don't mind.
transparency.
Wait a minute, but everybody, that's not what we're discussing right now, please. So we're discussing the Human Relations Committee.
Absolutely,
Not-
which is a
not the forum
subcommittee
and what
of the
was-
Human Relations Committee.
Yeah, okay, we're just trying to move it along, please.
Well, you tell me what you want me to cover.
Well,
and then-
I just don't need to hear about people defecating and all that, because it's already been discussed. We had 2 or 3 speakers ago, somebody talked about that. So you said you were gonna cover stuff that's not already been discussed,
No,
so-
I'm covering this stuff. What I'm telling you is that there's a formal record of what happened at that forum, and it's inaccurate.
Okay, that's all I gotta say.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's it. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? We've got one more.
Yeah, sorry. Hi, I'm Matt Souza. I live in Ward 2, Bowman Street. A lot of people here know me because I have the ability and the privilege of doing some volunteering in this area. And I'm associated with a lot of different organizations and agencies. And one of them is I'm a member of the Laconia Human Relations Committee. So I can say from my experience, it's been a very positive experience, I think, both from what's been accomplished and the experience of it. I think there have also been issues like everything else. Some things work and some things don't. Some things fizzle out. So, and I think there have been some problems that I think are related to the fact that this has an unusual, kind of unusual status compared to the other committees. The reforms that are being discussed aren't new. They've been discussed on and off for some years now. I started when Ed Engler was mayor. That's when I first got involved with the committee. So I know a little bit of history about it. I'm happy whether it's kept the way it is or whether it's changed in the way that's been described or in some other way. And as far as my own standing on it, I'd be glad to go through any process that anybody wants to go through. And if they want me back, fine. And if they don't, that's fine too. I think if you want to keep the committee going, if you do want it restaffed but still continuing, I would suggest that you make sure you have people lined up to take the place of the people that you want to leave, simply because I know from experience how tough it is to get people to volunteer for anything. They don't have the time, especially nowadays. And I guess the only other thing I'm going to say, because again, I want to not just mirror or repeat things, is I hope anybody hearing all of this isn't turned off, who's interested in maybe volunteering somewhere in some capacity to some degree, isn't turned off by this conversation. It's the kind of conversation that can happen during difficult times and about controversial matters. For the most part, volunteering is neither partisan nor controversial. And most of the stuff, including that the committee has done, has been neither. At the places that I volunteer, I work with people across the political spectrum, and we work very well together. And I would earnestly recommend volunteering to anybody who wants to do it. I found it enormously rewarding in ways that have nothing to do with money, class, power, status, career. That's one of the reasons it's so rewarding. And I would very earnestly recommend people to consider it as a general rule. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Okay, we're going to close the public hearing, wow, at 8:20 on this. You want to say something, Kirk?
Well, just, obviously, some people are going to stay, but I think most people are here for this. I don't know if you want to move the agenda item up to now so you guys can have your discussion. That's up to you guys. It lists as 21B in your agenda packet, but it's 22B, just if you're looking for it. So it's up to you guys, but
Is there a motion on the, is somebody want to make a motion to that?
Motion, move it up.
Okay, made by Councilor Felch, seconded by Councilor Susie. Any discussion? All in favor? All in favor, raise your hands, please, so I can see them. Okay, it's 6 in the affirmative, thank you. Okay, go ahead, Eric. Councilor Hoffman.
Yeah, a few things. I guess I want to address one thing right off the bat, is that this entire discussion was not initiated by the Human Relations Committee at all. This discussion was initiated by us, because the appointments, like they do every year, came before us, and some of these concerns about accountability and the legitimacy of the committee and oversight came up, and we decided to initiate this discussion and to explore making this committee a permanent committee and not just a mayor's committee. So it's not really like the Human Relations Committee is trying to steer some kind of political waters to legitimize themselves. This is us trying to address concerns about the committee.
Some of the concerns we heard tonight.
Yes. So if it's a good idea tonight, it's a good idea next month. I have no issue if we kick this to it being reviewed by the next council's Government Operations and Ordinance Committee. I mean, I think that's fair.
I guess what I'm curious about, Counselor, is that if this council goes ahead and says you want to do that, the members won't be approved until the new council is seated.
It's true.
It'll be, so if the new council says, everyone on the Human Relations Committee is terrible people, we got to get them out of there, that's up to the council. Am I wrong? And if the new council and the new mayor decide that, well, this whole thing is just craziness, we want nothing to do with them, then they could vote that committee right off the face of the earth. Am I wrong?
You're not wrong.
So I guess,
I just think in the interest of transparency and maybe given some of the comments tonight that there is a little more work to be done on the exact text of the Human Relations Committee, that we might want to take a little more time with this. I have a few more things. People keep mentioning the minutes, and this is frustrating because I do think it's ridiculous that we can't get minutes posted. You know, it was mentioned the committee about Old North Main. I never even received. I was the chair of that committee and have not received the minutes for the last meeting. We have to do better with this. It's just not professional, right? Meeting times, I totally agree. 4:30 it's not late enough, and if that is really because we can't get that committee a key to get in here, I think that's just crazy.
well, that would be, again, answered by
It would.
a legitimate, not legitimate, but a city-run committee.
Also, it came up, you know, we list almost every time we discuss something where these things are posted, right? And everything that we do is posted in 4 places. We really need to have that on the website better, because you shouldn't have to park here and walk up to the door to see when we're going to have a public hearing about something. A lot of people don't read the paper. You need to be able to get on a computer and type it in and have it come up, like, this is the next meeting, this is where it is. Yeah, that's all I have. Thanks.
Councilor Susie?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The thing I'd like to also bring forth is if we look at what we're being asked to take a look at, I have 21, on item 21B, the ordinance is right there that covers the Human Relations Committee. It's in the ordinance, and that's available to all the public as they wish. And the committee is made up of X amount of people, Human Relations, made up of 13 people, 3-year terms, 2 members by the city manager, and 1 member by the city manager, 2 members by the mayor, and 9 members appointed by the city council. Now, through that process, we had the city council created 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, an appointments committee, so that anybody who wanted to go on all these boards that are listed under the ordinance would have to come in front of that committee made up of 3 city councilors and go through a vetting process. Okay, it gives us more time because, as I've said, when we've had those committees, and some people here have been there, it used to be in the past, somebody wanted to volunteer to be on a committee, come up in front of the city council, say, my name's in a hat, fine, we found a warm body, let's put them on. I can't say that wasn't done, that's the way it was done. Today, we have this process that we go through, and that was initiated by this council, put in place, and what we do is, and those of you who've been there, we discuss, we learn a lot of things that are not really brought in front of the council that we can then bring to the council, so the council's aware of it. And we comes up with some very good things out of that. I totally agree that we needed the Human Relations Committee. I think it's awesome. I think we should do it. Also, there's probably no time for this council to get it done before this council is relieved and a new council comes on. I just don't see it, because we have to go out and get all these people vetted, you might say, brought in front of appointments, take time to do that. This is a very busy time of the season, everything else like that. I don't understand what the issue is that the new city council or some people here want to push for that, if they think it's, because this body right here is nonpartisan. Let's get that straight, okay? I'm very proud of that. And I get really upset when people start throwing things around like they're gonna be a partisan situation. That's just not here, okay? If that's the way you feel, you don't belong here, okay? This is a nonpartisan situation. We want to keep it that way, and it's better for the citizens of Laconia, not for just a certain few. Lastly, on this board, we should have it, and I agree with, I think it was Pat, okay, or Matt, when he just last up speaking, okay? If the council as a whole, when we get all those appointments ready and go and bring them in front of the council, if the council votes for some of them not on or off or anything else like that, or for 1 year or 3 years, whatever it is, that's fine. We're going through the normal process. And there's no time to do it now, okay? It's in the ordinance. There's an ordinance right here that people can read. It already exists. It's right here, okay? And we've erred. This council has erred because we haven't gone through that formal process, okay, prior to it coming up to us right now. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Anybody else? Councilor Cheney.
Thank you. For the last 8 years, I've sat here and tried to do what was best for the city of Laconia. And I'm more than unhappy with the tone of all of this. Whether you agree with the Human Relations Committee or disagree, you don't have to be unkind in your words. I am hurt to hear someone suggest that there's shenanigans here. I've been here 8 years and watched this and other groups work very hard for the city of Laconia and try to keep the tax rate down, meet the tax cap and all that other stuff, and to suggest that this one issue is somehow a political ploy to deal with the incoming mayor, it enrages me. I'm tired of listening to people who don't have any clue what they're talking about when they stand up here. That includes someone who doesn't have the social graces or the intellect to even remove his hat while he's standing here. That ought to give you some idea of what we're dealing with listening to this. I don't know whether I'm going to vote for this committee or not. I honestly don't. But I can tell you this, from my perspective, they don't pay me enough to take too much more of that stuff. Fortunately, That's not an option I have to worry about. But Mr. Mayor, look, I just want the citizens of Laconia, I think the vast majority of them know I've tried very hard over the last 8 years. In all fairness, there's some discussion about the new mayor as opposed to me. Let's understand he won by 40 or 50 votes. That's not a landslide. So, listen to all of us and ask all of us our opinions on this and whatever may come up between now and the end of the year. I am somewhat enraged to think that we somehow can't do this properly now. I don't know how.
I got to tell you, I try to pay attention to everything that goes on in Laconia because I have to watch everything because of my regular job. I have to, somehow things affect other things in the city when stuff goes on. And I never realized, maybe I'm just really totally oblivious, that the Human Relations Committee was such a huge deal in this city. I think that if, I just can't believe it. People must go home and wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
But if I
freaking
might,
out
Mr.
about
Mayor,
this.
someone sits there and says they've been trying to get up to speed. Apparently, they haven't done enough yet to figure out where we're at.
Well,
So it hasn't been a major concern until a small group decided to make it an issue. 4 of the councilors sitting here today will be here after the first of the year. Excuse me. One or another may not support this, but the fact remains, there's enough councilors here right now who will be here next year, who, if they support this, are gonna be able to pass it, with or without the mayor's support. I apologize for this rant,
That's
but
okay. It's okay.
I've listened about all I can stand. You ain't paying me enough to keep putting up with this.
Okay. Thank you, Councilor Cheney. Councilor Felch.
Yeah, I feel that making this a city committee is pretty much going to alleviate most of the questions and problems with minutes and with, transparency and all that stuff. And that's why we want to make it a city committee. So it has the guidance of the city council. It has the oversight of the city council. So with that said, I would like to move this back to government operations for another look at, see if there needs to be any tweaking, and then back to a second public hearing for anybody that hasn't been able to speak at our next meeting and a possible vote.
Is there a second on that?
I'd second that.
Okay. We're still open for discussion now.
Yep.
Councilor Bogert.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've sat here and listened, and
Well, we're discussing the
discussion.
motion.
oh, okay.
Yep.
Go ahead, Councilor. Councilor Bogert, go ahead.
I'm
it's already been seconded.
discussing what we're discussing because
Yeah.
I haven't had a chance.
Bruce seconded it.
Then- That's right, it was seconded. Okay. So I can discuss it.
Yep.
All right. I do not believe anybody had an issue with the Human Relations Committee until they came up with the homeless issue. The homeless issue has been dividing this city for over 2 years. People have had their houses vandalized.
No, but I don't think it's divided, Steve.
I think it is.
I think most people agree with what you talk about all the time.
I understand.
Okay, thank you.
So, then it's not divided equally, it's more people are upset about the situation in our city. So, when the Human Relations Committee decided to take on God Pods, that's when people became fearful. We've already had 2 committees on homelessness. Okay, 2 mayor committees on homelessness, and both of them came up with the same end result. Now, the Human Relations Committee on their own, without direction, because I've asked for this information in a public meeting, has anybody from this council gave them directions to do this? No. No one has. So this committee on their own decided to take up pallet communities. And then they started throwing around where they want to put them. Well, what did you expect from the public? They're going to come unglued, like I would. I dealt with this situation for 3 years. 3 years. Okay? I've had personal property stolen, along with a lot of the other members out here. So they are outraged, not necessarily at Human Relations. They are outraged at the fact that they just on their own decided to do something. And it was not a very popular thing they did. So that is the backlash you get from the public when something like this happens. Now, do I think a Human Relations Committee is? How that even got brought up was a discussion between Councilor Hoffman and myself, where he brought up the actual comment, do I think it would be helpful? And I said, I think it would solve a lot of problems. I didn't say it'd solve all, but the direction to the city manager was to come up with solutions, different options available. At the next meeting, the only option presented to us was a committee. So that's what the record was. All right, so let's set that straight. And now we're here today. I still have problems with the interpretation of the ordinance itself. I brought them up at the last meeting. I have not seen the discussions made at the last government ordinance meeting. I don't see them posted when I went looking for them, so I had no idea what it was discussed at the last government ordinance meeting, then reported at the last meeting that it's all fine. We like it, go forward, we support it. So, none of the issues were discussed that were brought up. So, my curiosity is, if we send it back to this current government ordinance, we're not going to get any other answer than what was already provided for us, in my belief. So that's where you start to see this situation implode. Why do they want it to move to the next? Because they don't see anything's going to change in all these discussions, because the support is, we're not going to do nothing. Their vision and mission statement, I don't want the city of Laconia educating anybody. That is not their function in life, is to educate people on what is diversity and what's inclusion and stuff like that. That ain't no city committee's job. But yet, that was said to be, it's okay. And so whether we send it back to government ordinance or not at this time, I can't support that. I can only support, we need to look at this freshly, or government ordinance needs to look at it with a fresh set of eyes, taking the inputs from all these people and talking about it, and then having minutes that are published so that everybody can see. 4:30, 3:30, whatever times these are, most of us work. So there's a lot of problems. I'm not saying I'm not for it, but I think it's it's worked well prior to this last hiccup that they did. But until then, we need to work these issues out. The city council needs to, nowhere in here that the direction is from the city council. It just says they get to do what they want to do, but now the city council has to do it. This council hasn't even set up a position that it wants to support or do. It's all a big black void, and so you end up with their mission statement, which I can't support this mission statement, so thank you.
I wish I could ask you questions when you're stating all this stuff, because I forget some of the stuff you said there, but doesn't this committee, being appointed by the council, doesn't that fix a lot of those issues that you're worried about or complaining about? Doesn't it, you mentioned minutes again, we've already hammered that one into the ground, that'll be taken care of, just like all the other committees are. But this mission statement you keep talking about, that's the mission statement from the current group?
Yes.
Right.
And they want to take it over to the new group.
Okay, but that's what they want, but this council is gonna make the decision on that. Won't by appointing members, like I said earlier, maybe they won't appoint any of those people. Maybe they should have a whole new mission statement out of that. Well, I don't know I don't even know if, go ahead, Kirk.
If I could just speak on the mission, values, vision, I think that's the three things that they use in their statement. One of the things that I was tasked to do was to speak to legal about it, and I haven't even had a chance to, it's on my notes for tonight, but I haven't had a chance to do it yet. Legal, looking at strictly just a legal standpoint as far as the way we laid out the ordinance, they had no issues with that. And they're not saying right or wrong for you guys, but just the structural piece of it. But the mission, values, vision, they have a lot of issues with. A lot of the language in there they didn't like. And again, this was part of their multiple steps of the Government Operations and Ordinance Committee. They want to rewrite a lot of that. They want you to work on that because they didn't like a lot of the language. And they're both, for some new RSAs that came out, if you hadn't had a chance to see those, it's 21 something, which talks a lot about DEI initiatives within the state, as well as just some general language that they didn't like. So what was presented would require quite a bit of changes and probably a lot of work with our legal team.
And who presented that? That came from the current group?
It was given at, yes, current group given to the subcommittee. I took that to legal just to start the conversation, and we ended with it's not ready by any means.
All right, so it sounds like if in fact it does go back to government operations, there will in fact have to be some changes made?
Yes. Yeah, it'd be quite a bit. There's gonna be a lot of work involved in that.
So in summarizing, it's not ready for government operations yet until the city manager from the attorney can get verbiage that they like, then present it to the government ordinance. There's no sense in sending this anywhere other than possibly tabling it until we can get that resolved.
Couple of years, Steve?
Our attorneys work faster than that.
I'm
Well,
kidding.
no, it has to go back to government operations and then back to legal.
So the recommendation from attorneys is that they would rather work with the
Government operations.
government operations to help that as opposed to them writing it or going back and forth too many times.
Okay.
It'd just be easier for them
Councilor Susie.
and us.
So
It
maybe we
says
can
right here,
schedule.
in the ordinance that was presented to us from Government Relations, Ordinance and Relations, Human Relations Committee will create a policies and procedure document which will include a mission, values, and purpose statement, and shall be approved by the city council. Until that's done, gone through the committee and brought to the council, it's gotta happen. Okay, I hope they don't wait 2 years. I'd like to see it done expediently, but,
You get it to next election, and we go through that whole thing.
no. I want it done.
Go again, Councilor Hoffman.
Something else I wanted to clarify. What is the budget of the Human Relations Committee?
I think we do $2,000 a year from the city.
Okay, thank you.
Do they say what they use that for?
We can certainly get that. I don't have it, broken. We do, but I don't have it with me.
I have one more question, Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Susie.
The question I have for you, Mr. Mayor, and maybe for the city manager, is it best for us to table this, or is it best for us to send it back to committee?
I'm not gonna jump in the middle of the political side of this discussion.
I want to make sure we get this done because
Well,
I want the committee.
But I will say, if I may, I will just make the comment that the ordinance that was presented in front of you is the same way we present any new ordinance. It's a draft version that comes out. Here you go, what do you guys think? And I know there was a comment in there from last time, that as opposed to the I don't know if it's B or C on there, instead of the Human Relations Commission committee writing the mission, values, and vision statement, Councilor Bogart said, no, we should drive the bus on that. So that was kind of where that came up for. So that would be adjusted anyhow. That document that you have there, the proposed ordinance, is pretty benign. As far as it just really lays out the very basics of the committee. It does not get into the minute details. That's the other stuff that we're talking about with the other half of the document. This is more how you put people on. If you notice, most of the committees that are in there, I mean, there's 15 committees and 16 committees in there, and it's only 4 pages, because it just lays out who puts the people on the committee, and that everything else comes more in-depth in other documents, which is what we're trying to work on.
I don't see any harm, I mean, I'm not gonna vote on it, but I don't see any harm with this going back to government, because it just keeps the thing moving along. It doesn't mean anything's gonna happen the next council meeting, or, like I said, 2 years from now. But potentially, it just keeps the ball rolling and to keep the work going, whether anything happens or not, Councilor Bogart. Like you said, a lot of work needs to be done, but at least it keeps it moving, and I don't see any harm in that.
I have one more comment.
Councilor Susie?
Right. If it goes back to Government Operations Committee, and I'd like to ask the chairman, Councilor Haynes, and I'm not sure if it works that way or not, but to also allow some other, not council, but see, people from the outside, whether it's Pat Wood or Carol Pierce or anybody that's here or wants to get involved, present to you, help write that mission statement, policies and stuff like that? Because I'm not sure if we know all of it to do.
They appeared at the last meeting.
They did?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
And if you want, Mayor, can I make a comment?
Absolutely.
I was in the middle of the motion here and the whole works. As far as meeting times go to concern, I think we need to back off from this a little bit. Okay, there are 2 meeting rooms in this building, okay? I think the city manager said there was 15 or 16 different committees, and that doesn't include the planning board, the conservation commission, and the whole works, okay? The meetings are scheduled when the meeting rooms are available and when the committee meeting members are available. You could have a meeting on Monday night at 7 o'clock of government operations. One of the committee members can't be here because he's on the planning board, and the planning board meets in this meeting room. So, 3:30, 4:30, maybe not acceptable to some people, but it's when the meeting room and the people are available, okay? So I think that's a very unfair comment, okay? And it's not scheduled so that nobody can come. It's when it's available and when the committee members are available.
Well, as many of you know, including a lot of citizens in the city, there are meetings that are held all day long, different times. I mean, I've been irritated when the 10-year plan was here a couple times, and it was held at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I had to take time off from work to get here. But it just depends, I guess, on how important something is for you. But you're absolutely right, Counselor, with regards to rooms. I've been up against that before. Counselor Felch.
Yes. So with that said, if there's a meeting scheduled, people can reach out to their counselor, people can email the entire council ahead of the meeting, and those notes or those email will be included in that meeting. And with all that said, there's been a motion and a second. I'd like to call the question.
Okay, the question's been called. All in favor of the motion, which, do we want to repeat the motion?
The motion was to move it to committee.
Go back to the
Government Operations Committee. And if
Seconded
we
by-
have everything figured out, move it back to another public meeting, but it doesn't sound like we will.
But, no, a couple of
I
years.
think that would be up to the committee, right?
Oh,
Or
okay.
How do we want to
The
do
que-
that?
Go ahead.
Could you check the minute, the wording of the motion, is that? Seemed like it was, for the one he just made.
Motion I made originally.
Yeah, so Counselor Felch made a motion to send this back to the Government Operations and Ordinances Committee. And then, sorry, I didn't have my microphone on. So Counselor Felch made a motion to send this back to the Government Operations and Ordinances Subcommittee. It was seconded. I have to go back and listen to who seconded it. Counselor Cheney?
Yep.
And then there was the discussion brought forth by Counselor Bogert.
Amongst others, okay. All set?
Yeah, I would, if it's gonna go back to the government operations in the next 2 weeks, certainly I can, I'm on the timetable of the attorneys, and there's gonna be a lot of work that goes involved in this. I think the question also needs to be put in there as to, is there an expectation that's gonna be on the 22nd meeting for a potential vote? And that's up to you guys. You asked me to weigh in, that, I'm gonna make it harder on you, but that's one of the things
I
I would
didn't
say
ask you to weigh
on.
in.
Yeah, you did.
No, that was
I
Counselor
need direction
Susie.
on that piece, because.
Yeah, well, we'll know, I would, you're gonna schedule a meet, well, let's vote on the motion first. Okay, and then
Yeah, I
they
mean,
can-
how soon do you need to know if it's gonna be on the next agenda? For another public hearing and.
No,
Well, I mean, if we're gonna have another public hearing, we're gonna have to post it soon.
Right.
We're gonna have to get it on,
And that was the intention,
you
for
know,
anybody to speak that hasn't spoken.
that's
And a possible vote if
and
we're
I-
ready,
There's
but
always,
if
whenever you
not.
do a public hearing, there's always a possible vote. It doesn't
Right,
mean
it
there's gonna
doesn't
be,
have to
but
be.
that's
Right.
up to you guys.
So that was my
Okay.
motion.
Okay.
all right,
Yes.
enough. All in favor, raise your hands, please. That's, and all opposed? Okay, it's 5-1, so motion carries. Okay. Thank you. And thank you, everybody in the audience.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
when this committee meeting is, as with all committee meetings, can all counselors be advised at what time and location and provided with the agenda so that we can, be present and,
Yep.
thank you.
Also,
you know,
information that you're talking
Doug.
about, so we can discuss that. okay?
Doug,
Yeah.
before you, no, don't leave, yeah. I was just gonna say, I look forward to a lot of Laconia citizens showing up in Guilford at the Board of Selectmen's meeting. We're gonna all have to start watching the news over there, and the Gunstock Commission, of course. So we'll, maybe we'll see you there, kid.
Good involvement and discussion is universal.
Oh, I know.
Thank you.
Thank you. I know there's a delegation meeting tomorrow night, too.
Mayor, I'm sure we-
When the budget's gonna be proposed.
Make sure that budget goes down about $600,000.
I know Counselor Susie's gonna be there.
When is it, tomorrow night?
Okay, we're gonna move on now
I'm gonna miss my drink.
to, excuse me here.
13C.
Thank you. 13C, this is Resolution 2025-35, relative to acceptance of an award in the amount of $87,000 from the Department of Safety Homeland Security Grant Program for the purchase of SWAT SOU equipment for the Laconia Police Department. We'll open the public hearing at 8:54. Is there anybody here that would like to come and,
We do have the PD here if we need to.
yeah,
for
I
questions,
see him
if we
back
need
there.
to.
We've got a new person on this topic.
How you
If you could
doing?
just repeat your name one more time.
My name is Sue Higgins.
Thank you, Sue.
So, I spoke to, Mr. Beati about this, and I would just like some clarification on this equipment, because it is my understanding that the city of Laconia does not have a SWAT team. The SWAT team is a Belknap County SWAT team. And so, I'm just looking for some clarification as to where this equipment is going and who it's actually working for.
And I do have the update, since we've talked, so they have it is Belknap County, but it's an executive board made up of the police departments within Belknap County. They have an executive board that they do. So it is a shared resource. What they end up doing is, you'll see that other municipalities within Belknap County will apply for these grants as well. we seem to do a lion's share of them probably, but we have a lot of experience with writing grants, so that's why it generally gets pushed to us. But this could certainly have been written by another one of the communities within there, and so that's how it's Belknap County, but this is part of an executive team, an executive committee rather, made up of the other municipalities.
So when the
Does that sound
equipment
right,
is,
Chief?
when the equipment finally arrives, you're saying it's for the use of Belknap County, but, New Hampshire, I mean, Laconia is the fiscal agent for that?
Is that correct, Matt? Chief? That's correct.
Thank you.
Yep.
Transparency at its best. Okay, Chief, or, who else is back there? You have anything you'd like to add to this?
Yes, sir.
No? Okay. Anybody else for the public hearing? Okay, we'll close the public hearing at 8:56. Any discussion on this? We'll just move, I guess we'll just move it right along. Okay, we're gonna go to, by the way, that public hearing was posted everywhere else the other ones were. We'll repeat that again. The next one is 13D. This is Resolution 2025-36, request to use impact fee funds to replace a damaged garage door motor and provide maintenance on the remaining motors on the Fire Department Central Station. I'll open that public hearing at 8:56. Is there anybody here that would like to discuss that?
Sue Higgins,
Thank
Ward
you,
2.
Sue.
It's my understanding at the last meeting that we talked about using impact fees for this, but that there were not enough monies in the impact fees to cover that, and that some money was going to have to come from someplace else, and I'm just curious if we figured out where that's coming from?
Yeah, so the, this one and the next fire department one, we'll kind of wrap them all in together. They have just over $40,000. They have just over $40,000 in their impact fees. They're gonna take this off of it, the $15,000 to fit these two motors. When they take the remainder for the ambulance, as long as that's all approved tonight, it will put them below what they have in impact fees. The remaining will come out of the internal service fund, which the internal service fund is where we have money in for repair, replacement of vehicles. So it's already budgeted money. When that's used, what I've talked to the chief about is, as his impact fees builds up, which it certainly will before the end of this fiscal year, that money will have to be returned into the internal service fund. So it's budgeted money that we already have. It'll just be moved around once impact fees come in, as long as you approve that, to do that. So it keeps the internal service fund whole, and is used, as expected, this money.
Anybody else? Okay, we'll close the public hearing at 8:58. We will now move on to 13E. This is Resolution 2025-37, request to use impact fees in internal service funds to purchase a used ambulance for the Laconia Fire Department. We'll open this public hearing up at 8:58. By the way, this notice of this public hearing was made available in the November 28, 2025 edition of Laconia Daily Sun and posted at Laconia City Hall, Laconia Community Center, Laconia Public Library, and the offices of the SAU. Is there anybody who would like to discuss this?
Good.
Okay, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing at 8:59. We will now move on to 13F. This is public hearing resolution for Resolution 2025-38, request to expend funds from the downtown TIF for conceptual design and the cost estimate for lighting. Now, I'll open this up at 8:59, and by the way, again, notice of this public hearing was made available in the November 28th, 2025 edition of the Laconia Daily Sun and posted at Laconia City Hall, Laconia Community Center, Laconia Public Library, and the offices of the SAU. This, again, we may take this up later. Is there anybody who would like to, well, the public hearing is open at 9 o'clock now. Anybody like to discuss this? Okay, we will close the public hearing at 9:01. Now we're at 13G. This is Resolution 2025-31 relative to authorizing the acceptance of a New Hampshire Department of Safety 2025, excuse me, Homeland Security Competitive Grant in the amount of $55,000 to fund the Laconia Police Department's utility side-by-side vehicle project. Again, that was posted in all the usual places, which I've already covered tonight. We'll open that public hearing up at 9, is that clock ever going to change? 9:01. Is there anybody here who would like to discuss that? I'll say your name for you, Sue Higgins.
That's me.
Welcome, Sue.
So, the question that I have about this grant is that, it seems to be for the purchase of two, I think is what you guys talked about at the last, city council meeting, side-by-sides. So my question is, once these vehicles are purchased, where do we, come up with how they're gonna be maintained? We have, we've been talking about ambulances that are, falling apart, and how are we gonna get these side-by-sides from one place to another? Do they have trailers? Like how are we handling these vehicles once we get them so that we can maintain them and use them?
Well, I would jump ahead of the city manager. You know, they do have a trailer because they move those level electronic signs all around the city, the department does. So I reckon that they're gonna probably use the same trailer, if they need to use a trailer to move those around. Kirk, do you have anything you want to add to that?
They would, street legal? So they'll be able to be driven.
Okay.
They'll be street legal. There was what was the first question she asked, because I had an answer to that one?
The maintenance.
Oh, maintenance. So anything that they have like this, it's going to be, I talked about that internal service fund, that any new monies that would be needed would be added in there, as far as maintenance. I did talk to our chief mechanic, prior to the first time we went through this process there, because the fire department has a, it's a little bit older now, but a side-by-side. He didn't give me exact numbers, but he said it's, fuel and very, very basic maintenance, to very little cost. Even the fuel is not a lot of money. So, as far as, annual upkeep, it was, minimal.
Okay, thank you.
And one thing I just want to make a quick note too, on a couple things on this one. If you look at the agenda item at the back of the packet, it says 22B, it should be 22G. I'm just doing this for the record. And if you look at this agenda, the 5-page one that you have, it still says the 51,000. If you remember, this was the reason you're doing this again is it was 51,000 at one point. Now it was an incorrect number, it's 55. But everything in the resolution, your motion, the staff report, everything else is the correct 55,000.
All right, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing now at 9:03. Okay, so now we're going to move on to 14 presentations. This is NEF 24 Annual Comprehensive Financial Statement.
Did we miss one?
I don't think so. Tell me I did.
TIF?
No, I thought we did.
Downtown lighting,
I thought we did a TIF.
Yep.
we did.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did that.
I apologize.
Yep.
Wow.
You were probably
Maybe
looking at
at
something else, Counselor.
Did I vote? Oh, I didn't have to.
No,
vote.
we didn't have to vote. As I said, you, not only that, you,
Senior moment.
Earth calling Counselor, okay, we're good, all right. Glenn, if you would be so kind.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
You said it would only take them 2 hours, too.
I narrowed it down to 1 hour and 59 minutes.
3 minutes.
Okay. Actually, tonight I'm going to be very brief for a couple of reasons. One is that it's been a long meeting already. Second is that the information I'm presenting is not how, shall we say, timely. So I'll start off by saying that what I'm presenting tonight is just a very broad overview of our 2024 comprehensive financial report. The And then after the report, we'll have copies for all the mayor and council available. Key word here being 2024. This is a report that should have been presented to you back in February, March window. It was not presented to you then, and it was because we did not get it here in the city until October 31st. It was delivered to the auditors, to us by the auditors on October 31st. The timing and the delay in timing, and both parties agree with this, is 100% on the backs of the auditors. They had some internal staffing issues that hit them late winter, early spring. Took them many months to recover from that. And so the audit was delayed to what in my opinion, is an unacceptable level, but it is what it is. I will say, first of all, they are no longer our auditors. And that's partially why I am here and not a representative of what is now called CBIZ, formerly known as Markham, formerly known as Melanson. And we're not their only customer who is in this case. My understanding is actually that the county also just received its audit from the same company, so it's not just Laconia. And moving forward, just to introduce the name, we're now contracting with Clifton, Larson, and Allen, CLA, for our audit, and they're the ones who'll be presenting this for 2025. Just touch on 3 items here in really broad terms. The items that we really tend to focus on and seem to get the most attention when we present the financials. Fund balance, long-term debt, and the findings in the document. Before we get to that, I'll just say what you will receive is the annual comprehensive financial report, which has 3 sections to it. The meat of the document is the audit prepared by the professional auditors. That's sandwiched in between introductory summary information, where most of what I'm about to go over comes from, but that is all information extracted from the audit. Then there's some statistical information that we're required to put in there. That is a kind of a combination of information extracted from the audit and put into historical perspective, and statistics, operational statistics from various departments. How many miles of streets we have, how many streetlights, how many fire hydrants, that kind of information. So all that comes together into what we call the ACFR, the Annual Comprehensive Financial Report. You'll also be receiving a representation letter, which is just agreement between the auditor and the city as to who does what, who's responsible for what. And actually that's where the auditor says, hey, we goofed. We should have gotten this to you in March, but we got to you in October, and it's on us. You'll be getting that. Fund balance. Won't talk for too much about any of this. Unassigned fund balance went up by $1.3 million last year. And I think that's kind of the typical things that you would expect. Revenues came in over what was expected, and expenses came in under what was expected, resulting in a change in that. You'll see here the various different types of fund balances. The one we're focusing on is the unassigned. The other segments of that relate to money that we have. It's in our account, but for various reasons, it's just not available for general use. Either it's committed because it's grant money and we have to spend it on a certain item. It's committed by vote of this council. You set the money aside for capital reserves, for example. That is not unassigned money. Or it's money that we're having to restrict for other uses, for other reasons. Come June 30th, there's bills that we've received that haven't been paid yet. That money is restricted. There's money we're holding in escrow. That money is restricted. So all of that is backed out to get to what is now the unassigned fund balance. Long-term debt increased by $2.8 million in FY24, up to about $40 million. Per capita debt increased up by $150 during the fiscal year. As of the end of June of '24, so a year ago last June, which is what this period covers, the city carried debt equal to about 19% of what we're allowed to carry under the state law. The school had debt equal to about 3% of what it was allowed to carry. I know that question comes up often, so that provides kind of a context of where we are in relation to where we could be if you so vote. And last thing is just the findings. Findings are the areas where the auditors say you really need to improve these things. 9 separate findings. 8 of those relate to something that's new for this audit, which is the auditors for the first time this year looked at our IT structure and came back with many recommendations as to what they feel we should do to improve that. We take all the findings seriously, okay? So we're not ignoring any of these. But that said, I will say there's several of these findings, for example, where the finding is that we don't have written procedures for doing what we're doing. So they talk about we don't have written procedures that we follow consistently for how projects get done in IT.
No, keep going, keep going.
Okay, and what I mean by that is that we have a ticketing system in IT. If your computer goes down, you put in a ticket to IT and they come fix it. But we bypass that frequently. My computer goes down, I stick my head into the IT office, or the YouTube goes down, and we don't put in a ticket. We call IT and say, get down here and fix it. Those are the kind of things that we do that I think makes the function a lot easier to use, but gets written up here because it bypasses the written system. So there's several things like that in here that we're going to address. We're going to take this all seriously, but I don't think we need to panic too much. I think we actually have a very good IT and a very good cybersecurity function for that. And so just wanted to bring that up. And this and anything else I talk about tonight, of course, if you want to go into more depth, I'd be happy to do either outside this meeting or in a future meeting.
You're always available.
Oh, you know where to find me.
Yes.
So just in closing, we have copies of we call it the ACFR for mayor and council tonight. We also have copies available in the city manager's office for the mayor-elect and the councilors-elect that will be available tomorrow morning. Public copies will be available tomorrow at the library and on the city website. IT already has the ACFR. They're going to upload it after first thing tomorrow morning after this presentation.
Okay, so if somebody from the public, and I suspect there'll be somebody, wants a copy of this, they can go to the library or they can view it at the
They'll
library?
be able to go to the library for a paper copy.
Okay, paper copy.
Probably sometime tomorrow. I mean, it physically has to get from my office to
Okay.
the library. Or they can go onto the website and view not only this ACFR, but also the ones going back 5 or 6 years. It's on the website along with the city budgets and such.
And is that something they can get downstairs at the clerk's office or not?
What do you do with your copy? We give her one. Is that available for the public or? Yeah, of course. Yep, there we go. So it's,
Do you make them a copy or is that?
Well, they'd be charged for a copy, but they can
Okay.
look at it at the counter.
They can look at the county or
if they
and take
want a
pictures with their phone?
Sure.
Okay.
yep. Or they can download it off the
Oh,
internet,
hold on,
print it out
Counselor.
at home, that kind of thing, yep.
All right, Councilor Susi, you had a question?
Yeah, I have two questions.
Sure.
Okay. Go back to bonding for a second. Okay, so you said right now that the city, not the school, I'm more concerned with the city, 19% of its legal limit. So as of, this is now, today, we're about a year later, correct?
Right,
We-
okay, okay, that's right, yep.
Okay, so about a year later. Is that number gone up or down, do you think? I
Oh,
mean,
it's gone up.
it's gone up?
So this does not count any bond that you've done since the close of fiscal year 2025. And I know, and there's also bonds in practice. but, saying it went up to for about 2.8 million. I'd say there's probably another 5 that's going to be added on after the close of fiscal year '24. So it's going up there, but it's still not anywhere near
Is
the limit. That's
this,
correct.
you said this is fiscal year '24, so is this '23, '24?
That is correct.
This is '23, '24, so sometime in February, March, we should get fiscal year '24, '25.
March.
March,
Yep.
from the new auditors, and they'll be making the presentation at that time.
That is correct.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Bogert? You're all set now?
I'm all set now.
Okay. Thank you, Glenn.
gonna ask the same
Thank you.
Just to make a minute, when you look at that in there, that 19.2%, the year before was 19.1, every year after that has been in the 20s to, there's a 30 in there, so there's been a lot of work to bring that down. Yeah, we use it, but but there has been work to, and that goes 10
years.
10 years of data in there.
I will say
And you'll see that in there.
Yeah, and we've discussed this before. It kind of runs in cycles. And we're coming off a cycle where a lot of bonds dropped off because they were paid off within the last 2 or 3 years. We're now entering a part of the cycle for the next 2 or 3 years, not too many bonds drop off. And then we're gonna be in another part of the cycle where you'll see bonds be paid off and that number will go down.
But in round numbers, about 20% of the total legal limit,
That is correct.
round numbers, okay? So at 20%, I can't remember what the total bond number was.
That's 40 million, but that does include the school also.
Okay.
But for this overview, we didn't break that out.
Okay, so we're probably somewhere around 200 million total legal limit between us and the school.
If we were to borrow up to the limit? Yeah,
Yeah,
about that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, again, thank you, Glenn.
You're welcome.
Okay, I think we can move on now. Let's see. Oh, it's the mayor's report. So I want to report quickly that I had the honor of going to the Christmas Village here this past Thursday. And I know Councilor Bogert was there and Councilor Haynes was there. And they gave me the key to the city, which I'm going to hang on to a little bit, but I'm actually going to give this to the city at some point because it's made out to the city of Laconia. And what a great job they did there, again. Just a really good thing there, and with all the kids, and a 50th anniversary. And turns out that the fire department was there doing their thing and got to rush over there to Guilford Ave and knock down that fire. So very busy night, a great thing. That's pretty much all I have to say. I do want to compliment the Public Works Department for a great job with the snow removal on our miserable snowstorm we just had. A very good job. And I would like to remind citizens, if you have to walk on a road, if you feel the necessity to do that, please walk against traffic, not with traffic, especially in your dark clothes. I saw a lot of that the other day, and it just blows me away. So unsafe, especially at night. Okay, any council comments? Councilor Cheney.
Two things. I wanted to know about the bridge on Elm Street and the curbing. Do we know if that's?
Good question.
Hi. Good evening. Yes, we have some answers on that. So the bridge was constructed per plan. There's 4 inches of curb reveal, okay? The original intent was to have a rail on there, much like you would see over in Plymouth. We had that priced out. It was about $2,000 a linear foot for that. So we decided to pull that off the project because it was going to be $750,000. So what we're
Could you
doing-
say that again? How much?
About $750,000.
Thank you.
For the barrier, yeah. So we're using kind of those flexible bollards, right, that are maybe 2 inches in diameter, They're high visibility, they're white with little red reflectors, they have some flex to them. They can either bolt them in place or glue them in place, given the fact that they're probably gonna get knocked off with plows and things like that occasionally. We're gonna be gluing them in place due to the time of year. We're gonna be doing that in the spring, okay? We'll be putting those down every 25 feet, so there'll be a very clear visual delineator between traffic. There's not gonna be any additional pavement over the bridge. I heard that mentioned. The bridge has final pavement. Okay, there is gonna be milling and additional curb work and paving outside the bridge limits. So, you know, typically new construction on curbing is 6 to 7 inches of reveal. And so that's so that you can, you know, put pavement over time. The main purpose though for curbing is not to contain vehicles, but it's actually a drainage feature, okay? And the AASHTO standards for a fixed object are 4 inches and up, and that's something that is something that's large enough that a vehicle can feel, that may adjust the wheel, but also you start to get into, when you get too high on curbs and they get up on the curb, you can actually engage the vehicle's suspension. So at some point that gets a little bit dangerous. So it is safe the way it is. It works the way it's intended. The reason why it's not constructed to a 6-inch reveal is because when we brought the sidewalks profile down from the bridge rail towards the center of the bridge, we continued that slope. If we'd increased the reveal, we would have had to raise that whole section, and so we would have had to jackhammer out 4 inches of the entire sidewalk, and you know, we couldn't afford that. So, you know, we did have a traffic engineer work on the design, stamped by the traffic engineer, as being, you know, a safe and approved method within AASHTO, you know, parameters. Any other questions on that? Yes.
Councilor Cheney?
Can you name another place in the city where we have these barriers that you're intending to put up?
I'm not sure if we have any.
We do, down there by Vista, and we have one on Weirs Boulevard.
Okay.
So there's one someplace.
There's, I guess, probably a couple near the sidewalk by Vista.
Yeah, one on either side.
Where the rapid flashing beacon is by Vista Foods.
Yeah.
You see them down in Boston and everywhere else, pretty red.
How high is the curbing there
Whereabouts?
by Vista?
That would be, well, we just milled and filled that, so that one's probably 6 inches.
Can you name any other place in the city where the curbing is 4 inches?
Not by design, no, but there's places on Union Ave where it's far less than that. Yeah.
I'm really worried about it. I guess there's nothing we can do about it at this point, but I wish somebody had given us an indication ahead of time that that curb was gonna be unusual. And it is unusual. I hope you will agree. I was down there Sunday, and I watched somebody climb the car climb the curb. They were on their phone. I really wish there was some way we could get up to 6 inches, but I'm presuming that's not possible.
Nope.
Okay.
Councilor Felch?
Yeah, have you spoke with the Wild Trail about that, and how do they feel about it? Seeing you got bicycles going by that might hit their handlebars on those?
Yeah, I speak to Alan pretty often from the WOW Trail. I'm a member of the board on the WOW Trail. I meet with them regularly. They were very involved in the design of the project. You know, they're funding part of the project.
No, I get all that. I talk to Alan myself all the time. I'm talking about the reflectors that you're planning on putting up.
Yeah, they're in
okay
the
with that?
design. They're in the design that everyone okayed and went forward with. Originally, we had them spaced every 50 feet. Pricing came back good, so we're doing them every 25 feet.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other, council? Go ahead, Councilor Hoffman.
Yeah, once again, I want to point out, Holman Street, Linwood, Pleasant Street, Shore Drive. These roads make up a significant portion of Ward 3. And I've been bringing this up for at least 6 months now. We've had several meetings about it. I'd like to once again request that we have a Public Works Committee meeting to try to get some resolution to residents' concerns on these streets. Thanks.
Who's the chair of that, Bill?
I just keep rubbing my head because, you know, so on Holman Street, it's a speed, right? And you've put, and you've put the black boxes, as they might be called, up there to measure the speed? And the result of that was?
Well, it was the advice of Wes with Public Works that we not reduce the speed limit, which, given the data, I think makes sense. But I think also, looking at the data, it is true that there are people that drive through that street at in excess of 50 miles an hour.
So they've had that recorded, in excess of 50 miles an hour? So that would, I mean, rather than putting, I think one of the councilors mentioned speed ramps or stuff like that, which are, for people, even at a slow speed, they can hurt your, if you've got a bad bones, bad back or whatever, you feel that. So I would hope that perhaps just more knowledge of when this speeding takes place. I suspect it's during those rush hours.
Yes.
So perhaps we can get maybe more of a police presence down there and.
I'd like to propose additional stop signs on some of those roads to
Yeah.
maybe make it a less attractive shortcut through.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I thought I heard him say he'd like it referred to the committee.
Right, I'm just bringing this up, Counselor, because this is like a deja vu thing. Many of we heard about it at Beacon Street West at one time. We heard about it on Beacon Street East. It just seems like to be a regular thing. I'm sorry?
Court Street.
Court Street. And we spend so much time spinning our wheels because of the infractions of a few. And that's what, you know, we sent it to committee, we've got stuff listed, again, for the infractions of a few. So I'm just pointing it out.
People come to me with a concern, it's my job to push it forward, so I've heard this concern a lot
I gotta get my
from
list
many
of-
people, so
Review
here we
my
are.
list of concerns. I agree. So that's the committee?
Need to schedule it.
Okay.
Are you on that committee, Eric?
I am.
Yes.
Any other council comments? Okay. Any
Does
committee
anyone have a
reports?
comment?
Oh, did you? I'm sorry, Councilor
It's
Bowler.
okay. Earlier tonight, we had a person speaking, and I chose to wait till my time to speak. And they were talking about affordable housing, and that we should look at developers providing more affordable housing. And the question it brings up to me is it affordable housing by the definition, or is it lower price point housing? Because as we keep doing what is definitioned affordable housing, you end up with income-based deed restrictions and stuff like that, which creates a lot of headaches for developers and cities and whatnot, versus lower price point housing. And then you can possibly get the developer to create more lower price point housing versus trying to create affordable housing. So when we speak of those definition, words, it's helpful if we define affordable or lower price point in these conversations. And I bring up a survey that St. Anson did, where they asked people, do you want more affordable housing? Well, everybody would say, yes, I want more affordable housing. So the question came up then which I asked, is there a definition in this survey about what affordable housing means? And there wasn't. So if you ask that same question, do you want income restricted versus just lower price point. And that's all I'm trying to say is to the public, ask that question because there's a big difference between affordable housing by government definitions and lower price point. So please, ask that question. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Susie.
Yes, Councilor Bogart, affordable housing or less affordable, usually they're doing that too because they're looking for some federal money maybe to help or tax breaks on the federal side to help. I know that on a local level, for lower price point, okay, this council plus the planning board is, you gotta work with them to try and make it easier for the developer to do that. I push that, then it's a great thing. The affordable side of it, there's a lot of restrictions, both on the developer and the renters.
Yes.
And that creates a real problem sometimes. I think we're seeing evidence of that on Providence Street.
Yes, and that's why I continue to mention this, to educate the people so that, because we're really free with that word affordable housing. Everybody wants affordable housing, but if you start breaking down the definition, now you're gonna have people go, oh, I don't want that. Because now you lose a portion of the population due to income levels that won't get into it because they make $1 or $2 more, so they're screwed. So,
Thank you. Counselor Cheney?
I mentioned I had two things. One was the bridge. The other was I wanted to remind my fellow councilors that the next meeting is the sweater meeting.
Most important.
Christmas sweater.
I, of course, have no sweaters, so I'll be.
But you've got plenty of time, Mr. Mayor, to find
Well,
one.
He's got ties.
Swing over to,
Never mind.
you don't
Okay.
have an
Mayor,
antique one?
I do have one thing, Mayor.
Okay, we're all set here, kids?
No, I have one thing.
All right, Counselor Felch.
I just wanted to bring it to everybody's attention that the children's auction does start tomorrow, and they do need items, so if you can donate an item for the auction, they're at the Belknap Marketplace, formerly Belknap Mill, and they'll be there all day.
Thank you, Counselor. Okay, any committee reports? Do you have a committee report?
I do.
All right, go ahead, Counselor.
The Land and Building Subcommittee met earlier today. Before this meeting, we have recommended that it go out for an RFP for engineering review, design,
What goes out?
the bandstand
Thank you.
at the Weirs, just to find out, an RFP to find out what it's gonna cost for all these different things for, like I said, engineering, design, construction, and all that. So,
Thank you.
Any,
Counselor Felch? I'm sorry, Counselor
I'm over
Susie.
here.
any idea what that's gonna cost?
That's why we put it out for an RFP. An
What's
RFP's
the
all
RFP gonna cost?
$20. It's just mailing and advertising. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else on committee? Okay. We have no appointments, right? We have no appointments tonight? Okay.
Nope.
Liaison reports?
We already did it.
Okay, no liaison reports from anybody?
No.
Okay, now we're, oh boy. Citizens request to comment on current agenda items. Anybody out there? No?
no.
Okay, we'll move on to the city manager's report.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll keep this as short as I possibly can. Just a couple things I just want to mention real quick. It's online, there's a posted for a finance committee meeting Wednesday, the 10th at 4. All the information's on the agenda site if you'd like to take a look at it. All it discusses, as you recall, when we approve a bond, which we had two, the ladder truck and the O-Pee-Chee Loop. You guys approve it, it all goes through, all that. The finance committee is tasked with picking the best rate. That's all they're doing at their meeting is just picking, they're gonna be given 3 rates to choose from. They're gonna presumably choose the best rate, for those 2 bonds. So they're on there, if anybody needs to take a look at them ahead of time, but that's their only business for that night. I just wanted to make a mention that the tax rate was set. This, obviously, people are already receiving their bills, so they know that. $12.98. I just wanted to thank Katie and the clerk and her team for getting all the bills out. There was a little bit of a delay. So when we turn in all of our information to the Department of Revenue Administration. They do their math. They send us back a document saying this is what it looks like, this is how much to be raised by taxes, all that information with the tax rate on it. As we were reviewing it, we noticed that there was a discrepancy between what we thought and what they had. We did find the issue. They agreed that was the issue. It was revenues weren't listed correctly. So once they did the listing incorrectly, it correctly instituted the revenues, it put the tax rate or the amount to be raised by taxes at the correct number. That was why there was a delay in getting them out. They had already started working on the bills. They had to start over and get them out, so that explained that, but it's all correct now and where it should be, so.
You said it's 1294?
98, 1298.
Compared to last year, or?
65 cents higher last year. Last year.
So that was 2025, right? Yeah, okay.
We're 2025 now.
Right,
So
2024.
Yeah, was
65 cents
1363.
Thank you, Councilor Susi. Go ahead, Kurt.
Yep. My financial and operational trends is in there. I'll move quickly through this. The mobile integrated healthcare, paramedic data's in there. What we're finding with them is this program is becoming even more successful than we assumed it was going to be. And they're getting a lot more work than they thought they were going to be, a lot more patient referrals. So that's a good thing and a bad thing together. But the woman that's running that program over there has been doing a really nice job and really building a lot of connections with the community. General assistance data is there. You saw we had a couple of high months. Some of that, October was a increase from the September, which didn't all hit. We look at what we budget at about 14,500 per month. We're a little over 17,000 a month, so we're a little off where we'd like to be with what we budgeted, but we still have quite a few months to go. See, the police department activity is up. Looking at that second, third, and fourth lines, the park, walk, and talk, extra patrol, community policing, all those numbers are significantly up from the year previous, if you look at the year-to-date. So they're just trying to get out there and really put a lot of emphasis in that. Everything else is pretty straightforward. Impact fee revenues on the fourth page, I guess, of my document. The number that you see is what the fire department has as an example. What we said they have is a little bit less. What hasn't shown up in here is, if you remember, we agreed to use impact fees for the facility study, so that's been taken out. So that just shows a little bit of a change. TIF revenues, no real changes there. There's really not a whole lot of changes in the rest of this document from what we see month to month. Some of them very rarely change, like reserve fund balances. They don't change really till the end of the year. So, and the fire department, the billing report is looking pretty decent for where we stand at this point. We increased the rates a couple, 6 months, 8 months ago, maybe a year now. We increased the rates, and we're starting to see that pay off a little bit with some of the increased revenue. I've already talked to the chief. He'll have himself and his emergency medical services deputy will be in when the new mayor and council come in January to give an update on this, just to explain what they're looking at with this document. So I know I moved quickly. I did that on purpose, obviously, but it's all in there. If you have any questions, I can answer them now or in the
Councilor
future.
Susi's got one.
Okay, so thank you, Mr. Mayor. Kirk, on current year on the building permits, it's 79 million.
Yep.
Which is significantly higher than the last couple of years. We have 4 more months to go, correct?
Yeah, it goes to March 30th.
Right, so 4 more months. Do you expect quite a bit more?
So that number there, so I'll answer it in two ways. we do start to hit that time of the year where they generally will come down a little bit, and we don't see as much building construction, obviously in the wintertime. That number will come down a little bit. This is a raw number. There is some stuff that gets pulled out of it that doesn't count towards this. We do that at the end of the year. So I expect that number to be, it's gonna go up a little bit, just on its raw. When we pull it back down, we're still gonna be higher than we were last year for total building construction.
Okay, my second of three, for the community paramedic program, which is fantastic. I'm very happy to hear what you have to say. But if you don't mind, I'd like to ask the chief that at the end of December, maybe him and whoever's running the program, at least the chief come in and give us a little presentation or report on how it's going, so that my thought process is that as we get ready for next year's budget, I know it's been funded through that grant, but we might have to look at something more, because it is so successful, and it's really helping out the rest of the operation.
We'll have him do it at the same time, right after the first of the year with, when he does the budget.
That's what I mean, December.
The billing update.
I think that's great. And my last one wasn't mentioned here, and I don't know if you were gonna give us an update on the state school.
Really nothing to update on state school. The traffic study, it's a little bit of a repeat. The traffic study has been done. We did hire a third-party traffic study engineer to review it and take that 1,500-page document and do a nice summary, but then also help us to answer some questions about, we're trying to get all these questions answered before it comes in front of you guys. So DPW with Wes and Nate, planning, myself, it's staff level, are working with them to sort of weave through some of this right now. So what gets presented to you is much more coherent and much more easy to understand as far as what the long-term traffic study issue is up there.
You see that in January, or?
Yeah, I wouldn't say any later than that, yeah.
Okay, other than that, there's been nothing more?
Other than that, they're still moving forward. I've had, just had a conversation with them a week ago, and it's just a continuous, they're still shooting for closing probably late next summer, mid next summer.
So we haven't sent them a tax bill yet?
No tax bill yet. So it definitely won't be by the April 1st tax deadline. So no, it's going to be warm weather before they're finalizing the sale.
Thank you.
But it does continuously move forward.
Yeah.
They're not the holding pattern. They're not stopping talking to each other or anything like that. It is continuing to move forward. Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Anybody else? Okay, thank you, Kirk. We're gonna go to new business now. No, yes, new business. This is 21A, this is a proposal to purchase a wheeled loader through a lease purchase agreement. You wanna take that, Kirk?
Yeah, well, and then we can have Wes come up too. But so this is, we have in the already funded money for DPW replacement of equipment, is money to replace a wheeled loader, and he can explain the specifics of it if you need him to. We don't have enough to do all of it, but we do have enough to begin paying for it now. Otherwise, we're rolling this money over and starting next year, so it's 6 to 8 months out, in hopes the price doesn't go up, in hopes that they're even available at that point. So the intent is to use this year's money, pay for as much of it as we can now, take a lease purchase for the next couple of years. We'll easily be able to pay it off with the annual money that Public Works receives for vehicle replacement moving forward. So we're not bonding anything. Yes, we're paying for it over a couple of years, but it's not a bond. The interest, total interest we're paying is not terrible. We're gonna do it on a short amount of time using already funded money this year, and then whatever, every year we fund towards vehicle replacement, he knows that the payment's just gonna have to come out of that amount of money that he receives. So we're just trying to move this up faster.
All right, Counselor Susie?
And there's one ready. So that's part of the thought on this.
Counselor Susie?
Yes, so what we're getting a new John Deere, but we're trading in a Komatsu.
Yep.
Am I correct?
Yep. Yep.
And how long before we get the ownership?
What was the exact question,
How
Councilman?
long before we've paid enough that it becomes an owner?
It'd
5
be
years?
5 years is what we're looking to do. 5-year
Okay,
lease.
I read
purchase.
84 in there, but I guess,
Counselor Bogart?
Yeah, we don't want to send it out that far.
okay.
Counselor Bogart, you had a question?
Yes, I see here that under the terms, there's 5-year lease and a 7-year lease.
Right.
So you're gonna do the 5-year lease?
5-year lease.
And what is the total price of the thing we're buying?
172, 723.
No,
The actual
that's what
purchase
the-
price
Well,
is 153,000.
153,000.
Plus the 19
Okay.
in,
Yep.
in interest.
And that includes the trade-in value.
And we're gonna, yeah.
Steve, front page right there.
Yep.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay.
I don't have the paper.
All right, ready to make a motion here to move the city council approve entering into a 5-year lease purchase agreement with John Deere for a 444P tier wheel loader as equipped in the attachment and authorize the city manager to sign the agreement.
So moved.
Councilor Susi's made the motion, seconded by Councilor Felch. Any discussion? All in favor? 6 in the affirmative, thank you. And thank you, Wes. Okay, now we'll go to unfinished business. This is 22A. This is ordinance 2025-235-22, Article 4A, impact fees and attachment 6, impact fee schedule. Kirk?
I'm gonna let Rob and Tyler come up with this.
Oh, good. Before we dive into that, I have a question, Tyler. It was brought up earlier about that first get-together on the master committee. That was,
Yes.
and I believe the resident mentioned October. That was at the mill, correct?
Correct.
And that wasn't, was that a meeting where minutes were taken?
Correct, it was. And
They-
they were posted within the 5 days. In fact, I confirmed in the meeting they are online.
They are online,
Yep.
okay.
And there is a recording on the city's YouTube channel if anybody wants to go back and watch it as well.
Okay. Thank you for answering that. Go ahead.
So basically, we're just coming back before you. You guys had your public hearing tonight. Essentially, nothing has changed since the last time we were here. We're looking to update our impact fee schedule because it's been so long since we've actually taken a look at the data that's out there for what's needed for the city, and the fees that we need to collect in order to support what the city needs for these new developments. And rather than passing that cost onto the taxpayer, we think it's fair for the developer to bear that cost.
Any questions? Counselor Susi?
Okay, so let's just first talk about, so the fees are set by this document,
Yes.
okay? Now, who can waive or reduce the fees? The planning board?
So we've removed the waiver process. Essentially, in this ordinance here, there's an exemption section where basically it talks about the only times that somebody would be exempt from paying impact fees. One of those, as mentioned earlier, or I guess somebody had a concern about affordable housing and promoting that. There is an exemption process if a developer wants to do a portion of affordable housing of their development, and only a certain portion would be exempt from that.
No
not the
more than
whole.
20%, if I read this
Correct.
correctly, okay?
Correct.
So that's the planning board.
Yes, that would be at the planning board level, but ultimately, they'll be, the way it's written is that if they're coming through and meeting that criteria, then they would not have to pay for that. So that takes
Right.
all the gray
But if
area.
they want to appeal that process, where does that go?
If they want to appeal that process, like if they want more, you guys would have to,
Yes, sir.
Have to be us.
yeah, the city council would have to amend the ordinance to then increase the amount.
Does it go to the ZBA?
Somebody could try to take it to the ZBA, but I don't think there would be much standing for the
understand.
ZBA to approve that. I mean, if they did that, I think you'd be in a legal problem, so,
Thank you.
yeah.
Counselor Cheney?
Very quickly, would you tell the council a thumbnail sketch of the work you put in or had put in?
Sure.
To see how we compare with other cities and towns?
Absolutely. So we had entered into a contract with DTA, a financial firm that does work in many states. And they essentially took a year-long process interviewing city staff, You know, gathering all the data that we have out there from building permits, planning board approvals, and they also looked at other communities in the state as well to see where we compared. And when we got those comparison numbers, we are significantly lower than most other communities are when it comes to impact fees. This is our opportunity to basically take a look at all that data now. Like I said, the last time we looked at this data would have been back in 2007, 2008. So obviously a lot has changed in Laconia since then. This new data was then compiled into a final report, which you all have. It is available online. We have created a web page on the Planning Department's website that has all that information on there for people to look at. That data is essentially before you guys now, and the ordinance would incorporate that data moving forward. I will say we have spoken to developers, and they are always shocked at how low our impact fees are compared to other communities.
And we're not, we are not inordinately higher than any other city or town in the state.
No, correct. If you guys adopted this, you'd actually be a little under what everybody else is doing. Not a little over than some of the smaller communities, but under the bigger communities like Concord, Manchester.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Bogart.
Also, you've written in the clause where you can do some automatic increases. We don't have to wait 25 years.
Correct.
To do this again. So it's to the CPI or something tied to.
Correct.
Plus
So we
some
didn't,
percentages.
we didn't want a big shock by increasing the fees a huge amount. And so what we did was we proposed that you guys adopt it at 50%. Every year it increases 5% till it gets to that maximum number. And then it also increases by the CPI to account for inflation costs. That way we're not in the same boat 15 years down the road again.
Right.
And if you guys ever want to change that, you can.
Forward thinking.
Well
We
done.
try.
Okay,
Well done.
I just want to make one comment on your, Tyler, correct me if there was anything else I missed, but on page 2 of 4 of the ordinance, letter B, we changed a word on the second sentence from can to shall. It was a little bit confusing on how much of the property could be exempted. It just, the language, it was poor language. It didn't change the intent of it, it just changed the language to make it clearer, so we're not trying to be challenged on anything.
Yes.
We made the shall, it was poor language,
Yes.
so we just fixed it, so it's clear that
Yeah, it was
20%
confusing
is
as
the
to.
max.
Yeah, how many would be allowed, so that was the only change.
That's the only change.
okay. Okay, I'm gonna move to waive a reading of ordinance 2025-235-22 its entirety and read by title only. All in favor?
Motion
Oh,
second.
make a motion. Darn it all, I thought I had it right. Okay, motion moved by Councilor Cheney, seconded by Councilor Bogart. All right, now we can vote. All in favor? Thank you, that's 6-0. Okay, so now I move to conduct a second reading of ordinance 2025-235-22, amending Chapter 235 zoning, Article 4A impact fees as presented. Need a motion for that? Councilor Felch, seconded by Councilor Bogart. All in favor? Okay, 6-0. Okay, so now I move to approve ordinance 2025-235-22, amending Chapter 235 zoning, Article 4A impact fees as presented. Moved by Councilor Cheney, seconded by Councilor Hoffman. All in favor? 6-0, thank you. And thank you, Tyler.
Yeah, the planning department put a ton of work into this.
They
There was,
did.
there was really a lot of work, and all the department heads were talked to by the company. There was a lot of work, and they just did a really nice job.
Okay, before we move on, due to the time, I think we're gonna need a motion to
Yeah,
let the meeting go on past the 10 PM time.
correct.
Yeah, but we're gonna have to set a time limit.
Oh, well.
I mean, it's either gonna be 10 minutes, 20 minutes.
Well, it ain't gonna be 10 minutes, so,
I'll make a motion till 10:30 at the most.
A second.
you think we can get done by that? Okay, kids, we're gonna have to move along. It's been motioned to make it 10:30, seconded by, that was motioned by Councilor Felch, seconded by Councilor Bogart. All in favor for 10:30? That's, any opposed? Okay, that's 5-1. Got to pay attention.
First time we've had to do that in my 3 years
Okay,
here.
let's move right along here. Let's go to 22B.
We did that.
We did that one, so
We
we
did
can
that
move
one
on to
already.
that
That's
one.
right, we did that earlier. Sorry, moving right along here. 22C, this is Resolution 2025-35 relative to acceptance of an award in the amount of $87,000 from the Department of Safety Homeland Security Grant Program for the purchase of a SWAT SOU equipment for the Laconia Police Department. Look for a motion on that, made by Counselor,
You gotta have.
oh, wait, we
move the
gotta.
reading.
You can. we
That's
can-
right, that's
If you
right,
need any
that's
information,
right.
we can talk about it. We have
I'm
PD
so
here,
I'm
and then
so-
you get your 3 motions.
I'm so panicked by the time, sorry about that.
You got an extra half an hour now, so.
Well, that's true.
You got 3 motions, so.
Yeah, go ahead. Is there any
I
more
don't have anything
discussion
to
on
say
it?
about it unless you have questions.
Everybody's good with that? Okay. Give me 1 second here to catch up my paperwork here.
So we have
Oh.
to waive the.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a motion to waive a reading of Resolution 2025-35 in its entirety to read by title only. Motion by Counselor Cheney, seconded by Counselor Hoffman. All in favor? That's 6-0. Okay, I move a second reading of Resolution 2025-35 relative to acceptance of an award in the amount of $87,000 from the Department of Homeland Security Grant Program for the purchase of a SWAT SOU equipment for the Laconia Police Department. Look for, moved by Counselor Felch, seconded by Counselor Bogert. All in favor? That's 6-0, thank you. So now we'll move to, I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2025-35 relevant to acceptance of an award in the amount of $87,000 from the Department of Homeland Security Grant Program for the purchase of SWAT SOU equipment for the Laconia Police Department as presented it to authorize the city manager to sign all documents related to this matter. Motion made by Counselor Susie, seconded by Counselor Cheney. All in favor? That's 6-0, thank you, okay. Now we're gonna go to 22D, Resolution 2025-36 is a request to use impact fee funds to replace 2 damaged garage door motors and provide maintenance of the remaining motors at the at the Fire Department of Central Station.
I'm just gonna say that this includes the addition of the motion last week to be able to do both of them, both motors, or 2 of the motors.
The original request was for one.
Right. This is
So
But
this
the other one
this
had
is
to
be able
be
do
fixed.
2.
I'm gonna do both at the same time.
Yep. The second one becomes cheaper
That's correct.
because we're doing it.
Okay. All right, I'm going to move to waive a reading of Resolution 2025-36 in its entirety and to read by title only. Made motion by Counselor Cheney, seconded by Counselor Hoffman. All in favor? That's 6-0. All right, thank you. I'll move to a second reading of Resolution 2025-36 and request to use impact fee funds to replace 2 damaged garage door motors and provide maintenance of the remaining motors at the Fire Department Central Station. Motion by Counselor Cheney and again seconded by Counselor Susie. All in favor? That's 6-0. Thank you. And now I'll move to approve Resolution 2025-36, a request to use impact fee funds to replace 2 damaged garage door motors and provide maintenance on the remaining motors at the Fire Department Central Station as presented. Motion by Counselor Felch, seconded by Counselor Bogert. All in favor? That's 6-0. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, now. This is Resolution 2025-37, request to use impact fees and internal service funds to purchase a used ambulance for the Laconia Fire Department. Kirk, anything?
No, I would just make the comment in talking to the chief. I mean, certainly this is not our goal is to be purchasing used vehicles. We think we found the right one, and we wouldn't have done it without our chief mechanic, to have him taking a look at it and signing off on this. So for what we need for the time right now, I think we're pleased with the opportunity.
Counselor Cheney?
As liaison, I've met with the chief regarding this issue. The ambulance they're looking at has, by our standards at least, extremely low mileage. and the price is, has been compared. The fire department's done a lot of work, and the price is more than right. So I highly recommend that we pass this article.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, I'm going to move to waive a reading of Resolution 2025-37 in its entirety and to read by title only. Motioned by Councilor Cheney and seconded by Councilor Susi. All in favor? That's 6-0, thank you. Can I move a second reading of Resolution 2025-37 relative to the request to use impact fees and internal service funds to purchase a used ambulance for the Laconia Fire Department. Motion made by Councilor Hoffman, seconded by Councilor Cheney. All in favor? That's 6-0, thank you. And lastly, I move to approve Resolution 2025-37 relative to the request to use impact fees and internal service funds to purchase a used ambulance for the Laconia Fire Department as presented. Motion by Councilor Felch, seconded by Councilor Bogart. All in favor? That's 6-0, thank you. Now we're going to go to 22F. And this is a request to expend funds from the downtown TIF for conceptual design and cost estimate for lighting. Kirk, anything?
You know, this was, we had talked about in the past, doing this project with lighting for a betterment of lighting in City Hall parking lot, the smaller lot here between us and the mill, which is ours. And also out back towards the Riverwalk area. And in keeping with the aesthetics of the lighting that's downtown. The request was made, can we expand this to do Rotary Park as well and bring it down Beacon Street east further? So that's what this is going to update us on. And when it's all said and done, we're gonna be able to determine what the cost is, are we gonna be able to afford it, how we can fund it, all that, so that's what this does.
Okay. Any questions?
Just
Okay.
one question.
Okay, Councilor Bogart.
Will it be set in such a way that if we can do sections without having to do the other things, you know, as far as pricing's concerned?
Wes, the problem with it is, and we can look into it, but the problem with it is it's the power to the lighting that we had to, if we had the power over here correctly, we would have been able to just do a little bit easier, but we're gonna have to upgrade the way the power comes into this area. So we can certainly take a look at it, but I can't guarantee that.
And these
as I
will
sit
be
here right
the
now.
LED lights.
Yes.
Yeah, it'll be the
So it
newer-
should take less power.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, I'm going to move to waive a reading of Resolution 2025-38 in its entirety and to read by title only. Moved by Councilor Felch, seconded by Councilor Susi. All in favor? That's 6-0, thank you. I move a second reading of Resolution 2025-38, request to expend funds from the downtown TIF for conceptual design and cost estimate for writing. Again, moved by Councilor Felch, seconded by Councilor Hoffman. All in favor? That's 6-0, thank you. And lastly, move to approve Resolution 2025-38, request to expend funds from the downtown TIF for conceptual design and cost estimate for lighting as presented. Councilor Bogart made the motion, and seconded by Councilor Susi. All in favor? Thank you, that's 6-0, thank you. This is 22G. This is Resolution 2025-31, a resolution relative to authorize the acceptance of a New Hampshire Department of Safety Homeland Security competitive grant in the amount of $51,000 to fund the Laconia Police Department's utility side-by-side vehicle project.
That's 55.
What'd I say?
51, which is what the.
Yeah, it's changed. Oh, it's changed.
Second sentence says change to 51.
Yeah, I didn't write it down. Okay, that is 55,000. Thank you, Councilor Cheney. Any discussion other than that?
Yeah, I have a
Councilor
comment on
Hoffman?
this.
Yep.
I'd mentioned this before, but would it be possible under fiscal impact on these to get an estimate of what the ongoing annual cost for these are? And I know you said it was minimal.
And I
but
did try to do it, that's when I talked to him, but we didn't have enough even data on the, on
Guess
the
would be
others.
good, because he said minimal, but that's not a number.
No, understood, he didn't have numbers on, on what he's done. I did try to get a number for it. He says, you know, but, yeah, we did try to do it on this one, but we didn't have even the data for that.
Thank you.
You talking about tune-ups?
Just,
Tune-ups?
we approve a lot of these grant applications,
Yeah.
and a lot of them are no fiscal impact to the city, but some of them do have ongoing cost to the taxpayer. I think,
Tune-up, yeah, tune-ups and gas and,
you know, in terms of
tires.
transparency, it would be nice to have the
I
annual.
was trying to suck that word out of you. Thank you very much.
I knew that's what you wanted.
Okay, Counselor Bogart.
Would it be possible, before these grants are given to us, to do this, that we put these kind of maintenance costs up front so we know what they are for something like this, and then we don't have to ask the question and delay
We
things?
did on this one, we tried to, we didn't have the data to be able to put it on here, but yeah, we've done it on a couple of grants recently, we've been, trying, because it's a great point. We've have added it on a few of these over the last couple months based on that, it's good information to have on there.
Yep.
I would
We just didn't
submit-
have the data for this one.
I would submit to you, Counselor, that the maintenance of a vehicle, a SUV or whatever the police department's running will be probably the same sorts of costs this thing will experience. Because these are road
Ready.
ready.
We're ready.
Yes, but my experience has been that when we take the lowest price, sometimes the lowest price vehicle has a larger maintenance cost.
Yep.
Versus when it costs a little more, has less maintenance
Yeah.
cost. So that
That's fair.
comparison.
All I would tell you is, the department looked at quality equipment.
Yep.
Actually, if you remember, we asked them to do this last year, and they spent all this time trying to get the right piece of equipment, in fairness to them.
Well, the good thing, Counselor, is if they become a real big problem, they can just drive them off a bridge, right? Because the money's coming from
It's only
somebody
4
else, right?
inches.
That's the curb, not the bridge. Thank you. Counselor Felch?
Yeah, so I can tell you, these will be a lot less cheaper to maintain than a car.
Oh, yeah.
And we have our own mechanics that are gonna be working on them that are already getting paid. So cost of one of these maintaining is gonna be very minimal, maybe 10, 20 years down the road if they need something major, but
I have no
regular
issue with the
maintenance.
grant, it's just as
No,
a,
and I get what you're
as a
saying.
point of
too.
order, just, you know.
And if it's something new that we're getting versus something that we already had just replacing, so I understand that.
Okay. I'm going to move to waive a reading of Resolution 2025-31 as amended in its entirety and to read by title only.
So moved.
Motion made by Counselor Cheney and seconded by Counselor Felch. Nice try. All in favor? That's 6-0. Thank you. Now I'm going to move a second reading of Resolution 2025-31 as amended relative to authorizing the acceptance of a New Hampshire Department of Safety 2025 Homeland Security Competitive Grant in the amount of $55,000 to fund the Laconia Police Department's utility side-by-side vehicle project. Motion made by Counselor Felch, seconded by Counselor Cheney. All in favor? That's 6 in the affirmative. Thank you. And lastly, I move to approve Resolution 2025-31 as amended relative to authorizing the acceptance of a New Hampshire Department of Safety 2025 Homeland Security Competitive Grant in the amount of $55,000 to fund the Laconia Police Department's utility side-by-side vehicle project as presented, and to authorize the city manager to sign all documents related to this matter. Motion made by Councilor Susie, seconded by Councilor Cheney. All in favor? That's 6-0. Okay, not bad, guys. We got plenty of time. We can hang out for a while.
Some of us have to work here tomorrow.
I think we all have to work tomorrow.
I'm looking around the table. I'm looking around the table.
There's another 20 minutes now.
Okay, any other business before the council? There's not, I didn't mention tonight, we had Mayor-elect boards here. Obviously, he went up to the podium. We also, and we had Counselor-elect
Hildreth.
John Hildreth here, because he came up there, but also back there, we have Counselor-elect from Ward
Conant.
6.
Yep.
Mike, yeah, there he is, Mike Condit. Just like everybody know they're here, so it's a good thing. All right, well, look for a motion to adjourn. Counselor Susie, seconded by Counselor Bogart. All in favor? We got? All right, thank you all very much.
This one right here?
Document.